Anybody else coming in, or are you think we're all set?
Usually some will stagger in.
Stagger in? Okay, you're gonna be in control of that.
Yeah. And if I see anybody, yeah, here we go. See,
Okay, a couple more.
couple more.
All right.
What do you have planned today, Matt?
Morning.
Morning. You talking to me?
Because I'm not going to remember all this.
Still coming in.
So I can introduce you as, you know, the team leader. You know what I mean? What do you mean?
Good morning. So do you think we're ready to go? How
Oh,
many
I
people in the
see.
waiting room?
Should I ask her about her credit?
Are you speaking to me,
Yeah.
the facilitator?
Good group here today.
Yeah. Will you tell me when you think you're ready to go?
I'm ready whenever you are. Are they all
I'm
ready?
I'm ready. We're after 9 o'clock, so I think it's time to get moving. Good morning.
All right. Okay, I'll keep you posted. I got to do. No, I understand. I understand. That property is under contract. I got emailed the listing agent, and she said that it's kind of off market route now.
All right.
So Chris, are you staying on the entire time?
I stay on the entire time with you.
Okay, so you might want to mute.
Got everybody should be muted.
Okay, I'm hearing a conversation in the
Yeah, I
background.
just muted it. Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, are we ready?
Already. I'm gonna mute myself that way. You don't get it.
Okay, well, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to element session number 1 on prospecting. So I'm assuming that you've all been attending all the classes. So let me explain a little bit about myself and why I'm teaching a class on prospecting. I have been not only in Keller Williams for 11 years, I've also been through a lot of Keller Williams training. I am actually a practicing agent in the Southern Tier and Finger Lakes region, KW region in Central New York. And with 30 years of history in sales and prospecting, I believe that you're going to enjoy this class, because what's going to happen here is you're going to learn a little bit, not only how to prospect, but the different types of prospecting. We won't be talking so much about marketing today, but we'll be talking about prospecting and some of the things that you can do when you get ready to make a plan for your business. So today's going to be about prospecting and planning for prospecting. So let's get started in some of the different methods you're going to learn today. So we're going to talk a little bit about the skills we're going to focus on. So you see, and you'll see this slide repeated, because I'm going to tell you one thing important about classes. You're going to see some of the slides come back to you each and every time. And what they're doing is just to emphasize a little bit like how we learn. You don't go to a math class and learn Math, one and done. So real estate is like that. You can continue to go to classes and you'll find that each class builds on top of the others, but there's also some repeat class. So think about math as your as a subject you learned in grade school and high school and maybe even college, and how it built on top of each other. So real estate's a little bit like that. So what we are going to focus on today is, again, you've seen these slides, grow your business and run your business. So in the grow your business slide, we're going to lead generate for buyers and sellers. We're going to talk about what makes sellers listing presentation and get listings, make buyer presentations and get buyers, and we're going to preview real estate. This is the steps you're going to take over and over again. To run your business, you're going to market sellers listings, show buyers houses, negotiate contracts, transaction management to closing, vendor management, set goals, compliance, risk management, attend training and get coaching, and also manage your money. This is how you run a real estate business, is focusing on these key items of each business. So lead generation efforts are really proactive and direct. So agents that proactively, they go out and they find leads and bring them back into their database. So that's what we're going to concentrate on today, is making those kinds of connections for yourself. Okay, so let's start with connect prospecting to lead generation. Okay, so what we're going to do is,
Hey, Vicki,
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We can't see your screen. I don't know if it's not sharing. We can't see
Oh, all
those
right. Let
slides.
me go back from the very beginning. I thought I had shared it, so let me go. And thank you for interrupting. Get back to the Zoom piece. I thought I had shared that when we started talking. So let me get to my multiple screens here. This one. Does that give you the Ignite screen that you're seeing?
Yep, I can see that.
All right, important step.
Thank you.
Hopefully the rest of them will listen to me for a few more minutes. All right, so you're seeing the Ignite screen and not the instructor screen, correct?
Correct, yeah.
All right, good. All right. All right, back from the beginning, you guys. Sorry about that. So let me just hit the slideshow again. I'm going to minimize the. Okay, so let me flip this to the top. I got my share screen kind of popped up here, so I gotta just bear with me one more second so I can get to, I mean, the screen's moved over. Everybody popped in on top of my screen, so hang on. So Chris, I lost the slide over button, and I'm not sure where that went to in all this. So let me see if I can get that back.
What are you looking for?
Yeah, usually when I have the two screens up, there is a slide bar to take it over to the next screen. I might have I've got the wrong one up. Okay, I'm good now. I just needed to get from slide to slide.
Right.
Okay, sorry about that. I've done this before, actually, I really have. Okay, So we're going to start back from the beginning on the prospecting. So the slide that I was talking about in the very beginning was what you'll focus on today. You're going to see these slides repeat themselves throughout all the training that you're taking in this course. And one of the reasons why you're going to see this, repeat is because when you repeat anything, and the example I was using is like a math class in grade school to high school, you build on top of each other, but the principles are really the same. So what you're going to do to grow your business, you have to really understand that lead generating for buyers and sellers is really what's going to be the payday for you. And in order to attract the buyers and sellers, you have to have tools that you're going to be building on. So building listing presentations and using Command to do that, buyer presentations and previewing real estate help you grow the building blocks for your business. You also have to run your business, you have to be like any business owner, whether you were running a construction company or a restaurant, you have to run a business like it is a business. So you're going to market sellers listings. That's the primary piece of your business. You're also going to show buyers houses. You're going to negotiate contracts. You're going to transaction management to a closing. You're also going to manage vendors. And we'll talk a little bit about each one of these as we go along. Set your goals. You're going to compliance and risk manage. You're going to attend training and get coaching, and you're going to manage your money. Like any business, if you don't do all these steps or you don't manage your money, you're going to end up probably out of business because like any business, if you're thinking about yourself as a business owner, one of the most important things you can do is learn how to manage your money. So let's go into the lead generation aspect of your business. And this is one of the things that I get pushed back all the time when I'm teaching is agents put in their head that this is hard. They don't like to do the prospecting or lead generating. So this class is going to give you some tips on how to make it easy because it is about connecting with people, having conversations, so you become the trusted advisor for the people you're talking to, whether they're buyers or sellers. It's going to be something that you're going to become very skilled at and very comfortable doing. So what we're going to do, and you'll see this is a repeat slide too, is you're going to talk about how you prospect and marketing. Now this class, we're going to talk about prospecting. Marketing is a little different, and there is a class that's coming up on marketing, but prospecting and marketing really will run together. So what you're trying to do when you're prospecting, you're trying to get leads, you're tracking, you're making offers to those leads, you're hoping that you're going to get them captured, you're going to make contracts out of them. And sometimes it's not one and done and fast. So you're going to learn how to cultivate the people that you're putting into your funnel. Now, fortunately for us, we have Command, and I'm hoping that we have a lot of people in Command using Command. So one of the things I'm going to do, let me get you all faces in here. Raise your hand or let me know, are you all putting people in your database in Command at this point? Say all thumbs up on that. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up. Okay, for those of you that are doing that, that is the principle of your business, and this is what's going to help you operate your business. So when you get down into the cultivate stage, we have some wonderful things that we can do with smart plans and with our prospects. Oftentimes you'll find that you'll run into people that I'm not buying, I'm not selling for 6 months. So what are you going to do? You don't want to forget them. You want to be able to put them into a system so that you can eventually make an appointment. You're going to, keep them active, put them under contract and close them. So this is just that funnel reminder of how you should be taking care of your business on a daily basis. So, and it's simple. It's not hard. What makes it hard is when we don't follow the process all the way to the end. So what I mean by that, when I teach a class, I first noticed with some people that I brought into a class and was teaching them how to lead generate, how to have conversations, and then how to put them into a database. And I used to laugh with all the sticky notes I would see in people's appointment books. I'm going, sticky notes are not a contact database. So if you're using sticky notes, your next job is to put it into your command. Don't wait and then have it an overwhelming job. So what I'm hoping to teach you today is to have that process done on a regular basis. So when you hear over and over again 3 hours of lead generating and all of that, you break that lead generating down into a process. So what I've done most of my career, and I always say this is the process that I learned probably 20 years ago when I saw technology coming into our world. I knew technology was going to be something I needed to learn. And I know people of my generation think technology is hard. Let me tell you what, technology is not hard, it's a tool. And it's a tool you can learn pretty easily to help you develop your real estate career. So the first coach I hired in my business, and I think it was probably back in the early 90s, was a technology coach. I knew I was going to have a challenge there. So I hired a technology coach to teach me how to prospect and market and use the technology tools. MLSs were going from paper books. Now I'm really aging myself into the MLSs that we know today that we all have to learn how to operate. And the MLSs are all different depending on your region. So what this technology coach taught me was a process, and I'm going to give this to you as a little new nugget. It's called 3-2-1. So if you can remember that, this is how you should wake up every day, going to work, you're self-employed, you are the boss, and you can choose how you're going to do your job. And if you do it efficiently, you're going to find that you'll have a wonderful career that pays you well. So here's the 3-2-1 model. 3 hours of lead generating. Everybody reads that MREA book and goes, kill me first before 3 hours of lead generating. Well, what you need to understand and what a lot of people miss is 3 hours of lead generating isn't talking on the phone for 3 hours. Yes, I would be exhausted too if I talked to people for 3 hours a day. I don't think that would be on the top of my hit list, but here's what you need to do. And this is what I teach agents in our market center that I coach to do. You start your day with an idea. Now, if you're going to do the same thing 3 days in a row, you'll probably be bored by the third day. So what I'm going to tell you to do is spend 1 hour focusing on the leads you want to gravitate to. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, oh, today I'm going to, maybe Mondays is my day I look at expireds, and I'm going to farm on Tuesdays. I'm going to do another thing, door knock on Wednesdays. I'm going to do something different every day. But the first hour is going to be set up so that I am focusing on a group of prospects, whether it's buyer prospects or sellers prospects. That's what I'm going to do, is focus on those prospects. The second hour is I'm actually going to connect with those prospects. I'm going to call, text, do social media, whatever it takes to at least have conversations with no less than 10 people every single day. And then the third hour is putting them into my database and putting them on a plan, like a smart plan. So how many of you have actually created and started using smart plans? Do I have a show of hands? Couple? All right, good. All right, for those that haven't done that yet, I would think that you want to make sure that you put that into your database so that especially in Command, because it'll show up on a task every single day. So 1 hour of organizing, 1 hour of actually doing the work, and 1 hour of putting your contacts into your database. If you don't do that at the end of the week, you're not going to sit down and put 50 contacts into your database, trust me. So that is your 3 hours. Now you've only spent 3 out of 8 hours. You got 5 hours left to do some work. So what people usually do is in the second hour, they get bogged down into the things that don't make you money. It's called a to-do list. And if you haven't read the one thing yet, read that and you'll find out that it's not a to-do list, it's a should-do list. So what would you do for the next 2 hours? Well, if you're fortunate enough to have made conversations with people, you're going to be booking appointments, you're going to be doing the important pieces, maybe have a listing, and you're going to take care of the people that you already are doing business with. So you're booking appointments for buyers, you're also booking and talking to your listings. When you're an agent that has 20, 30 listings that you're managing, you better find out a way to talk to your listing people every single day, every single week anyways, not necessarily every single day. So you can easily spend 2 hours focusing on that piece of your business. Now you've got 5 hours into your 8-hour day. And then the last hour, the one, so 3 hours of lead generating, 2 hours of taking care of your business that you've already brought in, and 1 hour, and this is the most important one, and I start this still to this day, the first hour of my day is learning something. Go on KW Connect, go someplace where you can learn to make improve. If you are having struggles with technology, then go learn the technology. If you're having struggles with what to say, I'm going to use that dangerous word that everybody hates, and it's called script practicing. It's called learning the language of real estate. Let's call it that. Because if you can't have a conversation confidently with buyers and sellers, you're going to put yourself out of business. So I know most agents will run, they'll blank the screen when it's time to script practice. So what I'm going to tell you to do is learn something on a Monday, script practice on a Tuesday, get a partner, and learn how to use the words of real estate so that you are going to be successful at the end of your career. And it is a great career. Having had several, if you go on Google and you look to see how much a restaurant owner would make, they make 10 to 13% profit, where real estate agents, when they run their business correctly, can make 40 to 50% profit. I know the MREA books talk about 40% profit after expenses. So you want to be able to get real good with that. So maybe you want to take a class about learning how to manage your money and how to pay taxes appropriately, so you're not giving it all away at the end of the year. So anyways, if you practice that, guess what? We have 3, 5, 6 hours. And if you're going to work an 8-hour day, I'm telling you not to work 40, 50, 60, 90 hours a week. You can do a really good real estate career working 40 hours a week, maybe 50. Where you really end up burning out is when you get to 60, 70 hours a week consistently. So make sure that you're planning your day. You have another 2 hours at the end of the day, and you can either book appointments or do whatever's necessary. You can go back and rinse and repeat, go back to lead generating if you have to. Okay, so this is the funnel. I would tell you to take that out of your book. I would post that up in front of you someplace so that you're focusing on this prospecting and marketing funnel as part of your daily business. You get down to the bottom here where you have appointments active, under contract, and close. This is where you're actually wanting to be, is in step 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so here we go into how we're going to actually do our prospecting. Okay, so really what what you want to focus on is the 2 M's. This is what this is called. It's 2 M's, and it's really the message and the method. So look at this really carefully, your message and your method. Your message has to match your market. For me, I'm in the Finger Lakes region. So my message talks about the Finger Lakes. Your message may talk about a neighborhood. Your message may talk about something that you're feeling very passionate about, because this is your personality, and your personality comes from the way you're comfortable and you match this method. So what you're going to do is you're going to figure out what your message is. You're going to match your market. So maybe some of you are in, I don't know, the Catskills, let's say, and it's a lot of vacation homes or hunting cabins, or you want to focus on something in that. So you match your market, you make an offer, okay? And then once you actually do that, If you match your market, you're going to do a target audience and your market conditions, make an offer. You're going to either make a direct offer or indirect offer, and then hopefully get responses back. So I would actually look at this as well, because what you're going to do is you're going to take some of your day-to-day and you're going to create your unique value proposition, your message. And then your method is prospect or marketing. So today we're focusing on prospecting. And when we talk about prospecting, that's a little bit different than marketing. Marketing is something that you will do that, let's think newspaper, although most of us don't use it anymore. So marketing is actually putting yourself out there, having a recognition in the community of where you are, because people recognize your names. You know, you can put an ad in the newspaper over and over again. You can be on social media. That is marketing. Prospecting is actually toe-to-toe. Marketing is actually something like a newspaper ad. So think about those as being two distinct areas. So today we're going to prospect. We're going to time block. And here you are again. Look at this. Look at the 1, 2, 3s here. So you're going to time block your 3 hours. In the first hour, you're going to prepare. The second hour, you're going to take the action. And the third hour is you're going to put those people that you spoke to into a database of some type. Now, when I work during the day, I keep what I call a diary, I would say. So I have it on my desk. What I do is I spend a lot of time on the phone. And what I do is I put down the date and I put everybody that I talked to that day. And whether it was a real estate agent, and I'll tell you why in a minute, whether it was a buyer or seller or a lead that came in, I diary all of that just by putting a quick name in. And then when I'm all done, I will go to my computer. I will make sure that contact is in my database, and then I put a note in. You're not going to remember everybody's kids' names. So after I show a house and they talk about their children and I get the names of their kids, I put that in a note so that I am able to talk to them anytime about any subject, especially if I know their kids are playing football or doing all those things. People like it when you're interested in them. So prepare, take actions, and maintain. That's going to be really important for you to do. Here goes my left-handed mouse again. Somebody set up my double screens was left-handed and I have to go the opposite way. So every now and then I may miss a cue on a slide. So anybody have any questions on this message and method? It's going to be important.
I do. I'm a little I'm a little confused with like the message part. Are we saying like make an actual offer, or I'm just
okay? So your message is really so as long as you ask the question, let me ask you what market you're in. What do you feel comfortable about? What are you passionate about? First time home buyers, selling land. You know, I think I hear.
Is this an actual question?
Yeah, that's a question for you.
I'm honestly, I'm passionate about the people. So
Okay.
either like buying, selling. I mean, as long as I get to work with them, I love it all. I really think about this every day.
Okay, and so and that's great.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what, like, I guess if we were focusing listings and buyers.
Okay. So the one thing about focusing on listings, and I think you probably have had classes that you've heard this already, is that when you focus on listings, you attract buyers. So for every listing that you have, you should probably attract 2 or 3 buyers. Now, I will tell you, those buyers oftentimes don't buy that listing, but what they will buy is something from you if you make the connection. One of the reasons why we don't in our office and have it, and I think many offices don't have what they call opportunity time, floor time, you know, that type of thing. That was a lead generation used in many offices in traditional real estates. And what it usually was is they would put the brand new agents on the phones. And then a call would come in and somebody look at the MLS and say, oh, I'm sorry, that one's already under contract. Oh, I'm sorry, that one's sold. Didn't have the skill set to say, although this one is sold, there's a house on the block that's very similar to it. Would you like to know about it? So what you need to do is if that house does not match the buyers that's calling you, you want to find that match for them. So
Okay.
if you're focusing on listings, Candace, what I'm going to tell you to do is focus on a niche. You know what a niche is?
Yes.
And it's either a neighborhood, which you know about, school district around, something that you know about, first time home buyers, if that's what you're comfortable with. You know, maybe the first time anybody sold a home, or a certain square footage or a certain price range. That's what I mean by the message. Find out where you're comfortable and the message to that, and you'll market to that later. But I think the agents that are most successful are the ones that spend the time digging into what they're most comfortable with. Like I
Okay.
have guys that'll just do land. They just do land because they don't want to talk to people. They don't like people. They like the woods, and you know, and they've made a niche around being land experts. You know, so there's that type of thing. All right.
Okay, that made a lot more sense. I'm over here thinking
Okay.
black and white, and that was not what I would have thought. That.
Okay, well, good. So don't.
Thank you.
Yes, interrupt anytime or just, you know, catch my attention. So marketing and prospecting, and this will clarify it a little bit more. When you see marketing, look at the 3 top pieces up here. It's money intensive. So what do I mean by that? And it's passive and it takes long-term results. Let's talk about farming. Okay, I've done male farming for many, many years in a certain area. Because I'm in the Finger Lakes, I like lake property. That's how I started my career. So I have a big database of all the lake property owners, and I might mail them something, you know, annually, biannually. I'm starting to use flip books now because I think what's postage up to 55 cents, and you know, not everybody will open a mailer. So you probably are spending, you know, at least $1, $1.50 to do a farming mail. That's what they mean by money intensive. You're spending money in hopes to get a return. And it's also passive. You're not talking to people on the phone. You're sending them something in the hopes that they're going to call you. Same thing with social media. You're posting out to, I think they say 3,000 people on social media to get maybe 3 responses back. So it doesn't mean that you stop doing that. What it means is that you have to understand that it's money intensive, that it's passive, and it's long-term results. A lot of agents will give up on marketing because they'll say, oh, it didn't work. So I'm not going to do it anymore. Okay. So what you're doing is in these 2 areas, you're going to learn how to do them both. And doing them both is important because I will tell you, I usually carry about 21 listings at all times. I'm listing 4 properties this week, but I'm actually down to 2 active because they're going out the door so fast. And I'm going, I have never had only 2 listings. But I will still have people say to me, now I have 2 listings. One of them does not have a sign on it because the owner of that property did not want a sign on it. And yet I have people say to me every single day, I see your signs everywhere. No, they don't, but they think they do. And I've spent probably more money on my signs because that's a type of marketing that works for me. And my signs are very clean. And I had Oakley talk me into, when I bought my signs about 4 years ago, it was just like our business cards. Everybody wanted to put pictures on business cards. And I go, no, I didn't like that. But lo and behold, my picture is on my business card. That also is a type of marketing, getting those business cards out there. And I had Oakley talk me into putting my face on a sign. Well, a pose, let's say a pose on a sign. I resisted. He gave me such a great discount that I said, okay. And then he put my sign on the cover of his catalog. Do you want to know how many people called me from mine just being on his catalog? So that's a vendor support. So that's considered marketing, and it is passive, and you get your signs out on a road. That's going to be great, but the results are long-term. So you want to spend time in marketing, not for 1 month. You've got to make a commitment for a long period of time. So today, again, we're going to go down. Now, here's the difference between the prospecting. It's time intensive, not money intensive, time intensive. There is a difference. It's proactive. You're in it. You are immediately doing that. That's why you're spending the 3 hours a day in this time intensive, proactive, and your results are usually immediate. Okay, so does everybody understand that difference? All right, let's move on to the next slide. So in the prospecting, and again, this is really going to be, and I would pull this out too. This is probably something that you really want to focus on. This is where you're thinking that first hour of the day, what am I going to focus on? So look at, this is phone or face-to-face. Now, I know during the pandemic, it got very difficult to do some things like we used to do back in the day before the 2020s, but there are still ways to get around this. So let's talk about a little bit of these. Phone or face-to-face. Listing without agency. I love that. It's really called for sale by owners. They do not have a relationship. Now, sometimes they sneak into our MLSs by, I'll pay this guy $500 and I'll be the member of the MLS. And I don't know if you have them in your marketplace, but they're really for sale by owners coming into your MLSs. And then you'll find that you've got to call the seller direct and get your buyers in that way. But these two kind of run together. So number one, listing without agency, those are for sale by owners. You can still find them, you can still talk to them, and there are some scripts, great scripts that you can use to talk to them. And then expired listings. Now, the interesting thing in our market, because of the fast moving market, we don't have the opportunity to have expired listings as much as we have before. But when they do come on the market, they're usually because they are overpriced or under marketed. So you need to really dig into what's caused that to not be on market. And I have a great expired listing script. If you care to hear it sometime and we get to the end and have some time, I'll tell you one of the best ways to capture an expired listing is because usually I found more so than overpriced is that they're under marketed. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Circle prospecting. Oh my God, I love this. Everybody should be circle prospecting. Do you understand what circle prospecting is? No, no. How many do? Shake your head, raise your hands if you do. Okay, I see one. No? All right. So circle prospecting is basically, I'll give this in a nutshell. If I get a listing in a neighborhood and I stick my sign in the ground, I make sure that I'm probably back in that neighborhood at some point in time when the neighborhood is busy, especially in spring and summer markets. Are people out in their yards mowing? Are people around, kids out on the sidewalks, in the neighborhoods in which you farm? So circle prospecting is, there's nothing better than sticking a sign in the lawn, catching a neighbor and saying, oh, by the way, I just listed your neighbor's property. You're going to engage them in conversation. That's one way to do it, is to circle the neighborhood when you are listing a house. Just listing postcards do the same thing, except for they're more considered marketing instead of prospecting. Now remember, prospecting is face-to-face, toe-to-toe. All right, that's an easy way to remember it. I got to have a body standing right in front of me to engage in the conversation, or I'm going to be on the phone talking to somebody. So when you circle prospect a neighborhood, you can do that during an open house. So if you don't have a listing, go to some of your mega agents in your office and ask them if you could sit a open house for them, and then circle prospect around that. You don't want to just go to an open house and sit there for 2 hours reading a book when people come in, because I'm going to tell you, the sellers of properties look for their next opportunity. They'll interview agents by going to open houses, and don't think that doesn't happen. How you behave in an open house may get you a listing. So there's going to be some ways, I think, coming up in this one that shows you how to do that. If you list something and there's an apartment complex nearby, guess what? Renters want to become homeowners. So maybe you can circle prospect an apartment complex. You can go to any links on recently listed properties. So let's say that you have somebody in your office that has recently listed a property in a certain neighborhood, and you've sat there open houses, they'll give you all the buyers that will come through. So what I do when I do an open house, or my team does an open house, they invite all the neighbors a half hour early. And why do they invite all the neighbors a half hour early? Because that neighbor either knows a lot about the neighborhood, may have somebody that would buy the house, or could be the next person that's leaving the neighborhood. So it's talking about engagement, and there's ways to be engaged with all of that. Community outreach is another great one to do, and a lot of people overlook this. If you're a member of a church, if you volunteer regularly at a food bank or do some other kind of volunteer work, then one of the best things that you can do is, I'm going to say probably I'm listing a house today, this afternoon, as a member of my church, and I saw her on a Sunday in my church to make the appointment for 4 o'clock this afternoon. So don't overlook that. If you have kids that are in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, volunteer and help. PTA, being in schools, we have lots of agents that have that volunteer in their school districts and actually get business from letting people in these organizations know that they are actually licensed realtors. Key relationships, we overlook this a great deal. Take a banker to lunch. Bankers are qualifying people all the time. Make friends with some bankers and take them to lunch. Corporations have HR departments, become a relocation specialist. Builders are the same. I think Keller Williams is offering a class right now for agents that are want to connect with builders, and they'll teach you how to do that. Any third-party data companies and investors, perhaps one of you who might want to work with investors. Now, be careful, investors, they're only going to pay 10 cents on the dollar, but they'll buy again and again and again. These are people that will flip homes, they'll fix up homes, they're going to invest in properties that need to be taken care of. But the nice thing is they'll turn back around and put those properties on the market. Teaching and speaking opportunities. This is a great one if you are if you have the type of personality that you can stand, in front of a group of people and do some teaching, go to your board and be involved in their classes, help to teach a class perhaps in your board, because you'll find other agents will start to follow you. You can do door-to-door canvassing, networking events. You can do trade shows at the malls if they ever come back in. And then just basically walk-ins at your office. Sometimes we have at our office, people will call in, they're unrepresented, and the team leader will go to the person in the office that has a license that she knows could take care of that. So if you're staying out of the office, maybe it's time to go in the office, make sure you're into office meetings, because I know that some of the mega agents will get leads that they don't want to work and they'll give them away to some of the newer agents. I know that happens a lot in our office. Does that make sense? So this is a really good prospecting tool to keep. And what I like, so that you don't get bored, don't do the same thing every day. Pick one of these and focus on that. So it might be Listings Without Agency Monday, you can call it, and put that in your calendar, and that's your 3 hours of lead generating. Anybody have any questions on that? Are you comfortable talking to people that you know in your groups, such as churches and things like that? Have you already done that? Anybody had success there that they want to speak about? No? Yeah, Candace.
I mean,
Brandon,
yeah.
okay, go.
It's up to you.
Wow.
I mean, go ahead, ladies first.
No, go ahead.
So, I mean, I've spoken to people, it's ultimately it's up to the people on, the timing for them on when they can buy it, when, they choose to put in that effort to go get pre-approved and, take the time to do that. So I guess it comes up to you keeping in contact with them and, staying up with them, so you can kind of not put pressure on them, but you want them to keep thinking about you and thinking about, wanting to get a house or want to sell a house, or, you know, whichever one it is.
Exactly. Are you putting them into your database?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I definitely still struggle with um remembering to get their information after that, so I can enter like the email or even the address into my database so I can set up a monthly neighborhood nurture.
Yep. So one of the great ways to have conversations again, and I'll give you this little hint. Don't think that you have to have it all at the very, very beginning, because there is a way for you to have a bigger conversation. And so let's say you got their phone number. I use my phone app all the time as a business card. I use the pandemic saying, well, I don't have a business card. I'm not giving them out now. You know, touching paper and handing things out. So I say, give me your cell phone number. I'm going to send you my phone app. Here's all my contact information. Now, what did I get from them? I got their telephone. Now, they come off the do not call list too. If they are on the do not call list, don't waste your time looking for them there, because they gave you their phone number. All right. So as long as you have a relationship and you keep talking to them, I think it's a 3-year period of time, you're able to do that. So the next thing I would tell you to do is figure out a message that you think would be important to them. And then you call that phone number and you say, no, I'm creating this market. I'm creating this neighborhood newsletter I think you would like. Give me your email address. And oh, by the way, too, I am doing some mailing. If you'd like to see the market stats, I'd be happy to mail them to you too. May I have your address? That's part of the prospecting you're doing while you're sitting at the desk. You're building your database, and you can search your database. Those databases like, how many people am I missing in email for? So that may be part of your prospecting, is you're just uploading, you know, to your database. Then you can get birthdays. You can add all kinds of things in there. So Candace, you were going to say something.
Yeah. So this weekend I actually made Mayday baskets,
Sure.
and it was some of the best prospecting I've ever done. I've never done that before, but I actually, because of the pandemic, reached out to my neighborhood Facebook group and asked people who wanted one. And it was actually this Facebook group. This is, I think, goes hand in hand with you saying like find a niche, because my neighborhood, like someone posted about how she needed to find an apartment for her and her like family of 7. And so I called her, or I Facebook messaged her, and I was like, hey, I'm actually a real estate agent. I can help you. And so she called, she's like, can I call you right now? And then with the Mayday baskets, I mean, I had 2 people who were like, wow, I was actually really just thinking about selling. And then I had another lady who was like, we're actually going to go get my mom in Florida to decide if she wants to rent out her house or if she wants to sell it. So it actually like, and some of these people weren't home when I brought the baskets, but like they knew they were coming. But some of them I actually got to talk to and just be like, yeah, I'm a real estate agent. I just thought this would be a nice little thing to do. And then I had leftovers. So any like new like leads that I met this weekend, I actually gave them one, and they were like, thanks for the gift. And it just like, I met a broker one time who said she always brings a gift because it's something that's memorable.
Yep.
And so prospecting, I mean, I'm not saying buy a gift for everyone,
Yeah.
but it is a good way to prospect.
I think that is great, and that's really imaginative. So how much did you think you spent on that?
I spent $40
Okay.
because
So
everything I got for the baskets were available at the dollar store.
there you go. All right. And it's the thought that counts. So here's the other thing that I think you did. So take your $40. What's your average commission in your market area?
I think it was said it was said our average is 6,200.
That's why real estate can be a good investment for you. You spent $40 to perhaps get, if you got one listing, to make $6,200.
I mean, that would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
I'm a fan of
Like
ROIs.
then you know you won't be afraid to spend money to do that. To do a marketing like I do on the lake properties, I'll probably spend upwards to $3,000. in order to get one or two, but the commissions can be, double digits. So you want to kind of focus on that. So just make sure your return on investment, ROI it's called. Now, when you get down to managing your money, that's going to be something you're going to want to watch. Is if I'm making $6,200 to spend 40, what if I could make, double that and spend 80, or
Right.
better gifts. So you're doing the right thing. That's what everybody should be doing. That is prospecting, and it may take time for that return, but that return will come back to you.
Yeah, I think the dollar store is a very good way to make sure my costs are low.
I love it. And one
Well,
of-
you know what? I was able to put in like strawberry starburst, dream savers. I had like little cups and like the grass in there, and I got the bags for it. I got ribbon, I got seeds, and then I still wrote on a little like handwritten note.
Yeah. So leaving business cards when you go into homes and you're seeing them, leaving business cards. What we used to do is take my business card to a pack of forget-me-nots. And then on the back of the card, it would say, thank you for letting me preview your home. And here's a little gift for you. And it was a forget-me-not. And
That's an amazing idea.
You steal it. Go ahead. You
Don't
steal
forget
that.
me.
But guess what? If that home becomes an expired listing, they may remember you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anybody else want to make any comments about what they're doing or successes that they've had before we move on? Oh, okay. Here we go. So prospecting, and now we're going to take a deep dive into, continuing our method of prospecting. So here are some, and some of these may be out with the pandemic, but there are ways to get around them. So what we're going to look at next is talking about some of these very key basic, and it's not for everybody. I know that some people are going to say, nope, never going to do that. I am never going to do that. So if you're not going to do some of these, what I'm going to tell you to do is find what you're good at and then do that. Okay, so a lot of people may be too shy for door knocking. Now, door knocking is really was one of the top. Now, I know NYSAR does not have an opinion on door knocking. If you talk to Anthony Gatto, he thinks door knocking should not be allowed. However, they did not give any guidance on it. So some people are still doing it, but other people don't like to answer doors for strangers. But if you're in the neighborhood having an open house, you want to have a successful open house, and you see that coming down, door knocking and open houses could run together. And what we did the day before an open house, we would make up a paper invite. We would make them look like an invitation. We'd have them in an envelope, not a white envelope. Never use white envelopes for farming. Use a color envelope. And because that's likely to get opened. Because everybody's going to go, what's inside this colored envelope? You stand over the trash bucket and throw all the white envelopes away every day. Well, everybody behaves just like we do when we hit home and got too much mail. But if you go door knocking and hand an invitation to, I always go 10 doors either way, both sides of the street. So you could hit 40 houses in a neighborhood and send them an invitation to come half hour, an hour ahead of the advertised time for your open house. And what you're going to give them if they come to the open house is you're going to give them what everybody needs, is usually a gas card. So they'll go into a drawing. If they bring the invitation back filled out with their name on it, and we're going to put them in for a gas card drawing. And we've actually gotten a couple of listings with that method, and it's a $25 gas card. So we go to the neighborhood gas station and we tell them we want to buy a gift card. Now, sometimes too, it's just, if it's a convenience store, somebody might use it on snacks instead of gas, but we go and buy a card that's convenient to that neighborhood. And what we're doing while we're in there, we're also telling the owner or the manager of that convenience store who we are and why we're doing what we're doing and asking if we can leave some business cards behind. So you're getting a lot of mileage around one area of prospecting. So door knocking can just be a simple thing. Hi, I'm going to be having an open house on this property on such and such a date, and I'd like to give you an invitation. They're going to take it from you. If they're not home, you can leave it in the door. But it will be time for you to do this. Agent to agent referrals. This is oftentimes a big overlooked prospecting. There is nothing better than having what I call mailbox money. So this is really a passive invitation. Let's say you have a listing. I'm going to pick on Candace. Candace, you just got a listing from those Mayday baskets. So you have this listing, and when you're there at the listing appointment, that seller tells you they're moving to Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, you're not going to jump in a car and go show them houses at Charlotte, North Carolina, but you betcha you're going to find an agent that is going to, you're going to be good friends with, or you're going to soon be good friends with, to take your prospect. Once that person, and you agree to that in our referral system, once that person takes and sells that home, it is going to be coming back to you in a referral fee. Okay, and if that market in Charlotte, North Carolina is also $6,200, you can do 25% of $6,200. All you did was pass on a name. And a lot of people forget to do that. And once you get somebody in that area, you can look at the map in the referrals section of your command and find out where people are moving to by just looking at the demographics. So when I first started, I've moved 4 people to Marco Island, Florida, and the 4 people in Marco Island, Florida, if you haven't looked at where luxury homes are, it's number 4 in the country. So Marco Island, Florida sent me back a lot of money, and I call it mailbox money because all I did was pass on names, and the check comes back in the mail, and it's not labor intensive. Does that make sense to everybody? So every time you go out on a listing appointment, or you have a friend that is going to move to another area, you ask them if you can help find an agent. Now, how many of you have been into the commands referral section? I know we all started getting, oh, can I be in your referral network? Say yes to all of them, because someday you may have somebody going there. But there is a way to look for agents and make agents in other Keller Williams networks to go there. Has anybody done any referral business yet?
I've got several in the works.
Do you? Good for you. Tell us how you, Elizabeth, tell us how you are managing those, how you got those.
One of them was, my first one was from a post I did on social media. I don't even remember what the post was, but it was something about we need homes to sell. And somebody brand new on my Facebook page said, you can sell my home. And so I responded back, private message, if you're serious, let's have a conversation. And he said, yes, I am serious. So I quickly took that post down that he said, because I don't want all these other realtors jumping all over him.
Smart girl.
Yeah, I just was a little nervous about that. Actually, somebody advised me to do that, so I did. I'm like, oh, I don't think that way, but yeah. So I did that, and then I just took it from there. I called him and I said, look, I'd like to hear everything about your home, and I want you to tell me all your plans, all about your home, and then I will come up with some solutions. Does that sound good? And he said, it sounds great. So I said, I just need like 20 minutes. I could not get off the phone with him after an hour. I said, okay, now my solution is, this sounds fantastic. What I'm going to do is find you an agent. I'm going to interview someone, and I want you to tell me everything that you like and don't like about agents. And I'm going to interview somebody and customize that person just to you. So I found somebody out in the Syracuse market. And so I said, I'm going to oversee this also. So you're going to have me too. So anyway, the house hasn't sold yet, but we're working on it. And then I've done 2 more. Yeah, I got 2 more referrals going. No, three more. One in New York City, one in St. Petersburg, Florida, and one in Durham, New Hampshire.
Good. So that is also could be on your prospecting calendar, is just to spend that day or that 3 hours on, maybe you call it referral Wednesdays, and look for people in your Facebook groups that are going to be moving outside of the area, because you can help them. And I would focus on that. We have agents that make $20,000, $30,000 in our market center annually by referrals.
Vicky,
Moving
could I
people
just
to
say
other
one more
areas.
thing?
Yes,
In our market center, Capital District,
yes.
we're advised that it's a hard no to do any door knocking.
I understand that.
I'm just curious
And
as to what, I know we're all in New York State, so I'm a little bit confused about that. I mean, I'd love to go knock on doors, but I'm just wondering, do you guys have different rules where you are, or?
no, what we do is your market center can set rules, and they're setting rules not only to protect you, but also to protect them. So you always want to follow the rules in your market center. Now, as far as New York State guidance that they gave us, if you go and you look on NYSAR's guidance, you'll find that Anthony Gatto's opinion is door knocking is not allowed, but there was no rule set by the state of New York to come up with that being a no-no. Okay. Now it is difficult in order to do that. So what a lot of agents are doing is they're doing like virtual door knockings. If they can find, sending a just listed postcard, and always ask on something that you're going to mail, ask for a return on that. So you can say something like, would you like to be invited to the open house? And I'll drop off an invitation. Once they ask you to the door, it's like no different than I'm delivering Meals on Wheels and I got to take your meal to the door,
Right.
And you always want to be with your mask on, but I'm not going to tell you to go against your leadership in your market. Okay.
Well, and that's why, Elizabeth, with my Mayday baskets, I posted on the social media of my neighborhood. So that
Right.
yeah, because that was the easiest way
Different.
for me to think of this is them technically saying I can come to their house.
No, that's really a really creative thing that you did, Candace. I love that.
Yeah. So think about that. That's what a lot of people are doing, is using their imaginations to get there, and also to get, I'm sure your market center is telling you to look at the do not call list and don't call anybody on the do not call list. But what somebody gives you, and you'll find that in social media that's coming up here too. Once somebody gives you their contact information, like a phone number, they're off the do not call list.
Mhm.
Even for sale by owners can be off the do not call list. But what a lot of people do is, they're advertising their numbers for people to call them. Doesn't say, if they say no realtors are to call, well, shame on them, because they're missing great opportunities. But one of the scripts that you use on a for sale by owner is that you call them and say, see, your house is for sale. I'd like to have some information on your home, because I have buyers that are looking for homes in your neighborhood. You, at this point, hopefully do have some buyers. You don't know if that buyer matches that house because you haven't seen it yet. So what you're doing is asking if you can get into the home, to be able to preview it for your buyer. And that would be, again, people letting you in your home, and you're calling the phone number. And some people will say, well, I'm on the do not call list. But if you call them with I have an opportunity to look at your home for a group of buyers, are you okay with that? You're asking permission is really what you're doing. Okay. And then social media. Oh my gosh. Social media is huge. That's another one of the big prospecting. So door knockings, figuring that out, agent to agent referrals, open houses. Go back during the pandemic when we were all told that we couldn't go into any house. We couldn't do lots of things from the very beginning. A lot of people started doing what they call social media virtual open homes. Maybe you have something that's really out in a rural area, and you know people aren't going to come out because it's 25 minutes away from maybe the main piece of the city, or it's a hunting camp or something like that, that, you know, it's going to be very difficult or has, you know, not such good parking areas. And of course, open houses are hard because you're supposed to, you work as a team, you're only supposed to let one party in at a time. So you can expand the hours, or you can have, you know, people coming and going. But doing a virtual open house is really good. Get your cell phone, get your camera, and walk around the home and point it out and post it on social media. And the nice thing about doing a video open house is that people can watch it when the time is available to them. Maybe they work on Sundays, or and they can't come, or on a Saturday or Sunday because they're working, or in the spring, I rather mow my lawn than come to an open house because you're only having it open for an hour. So if you are having physical open houses, tape it and post it. So you can have your open house posted as well. So that's part of the social media. How many of you are using Postings in Command, the real quick social post in Command that they've set up for us? They are awesome. There's lots of them in there, and you can change those. Anybody posting those out on a regular basis? Are you aware of them? Anybody in the group aware of them? Okay. When we get towards the end, I'm going to show you how to find them. There's no cost to those unless you choose to boost them. So we'll look at that in a little bit.
One the other day.
You did?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was my first time. I'm in my second week, but I used one the other day, and I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. I was like Saturday morning really early, and I was just going through, and I found one, and so I just customized it and I used it.
Good for you. And customizing is very easy. It probably takes you, and this is another thing, put that in your calendar. I do my social posts, I think on Friday. Sometimes I miss a couple of them, and then I put them back out like on Sunday. If I'm sitting having my coffee Sunday morning, I'm doing the quick post. And if you put that into your calendar, then go back and look to see how many people are looking at them. The one thing that Facebook did do, and I was puzzled on this, the Facebook was working, their marketing department was working with Keller Williams to help develop these social posts, these quick posts, and kind of watch to see, you know, how many people were using and looking at them and things like that. And I noticed that they automatically posted at 10 a.m. And I'm going, why do they post at 10 a.m.? I've been posting like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, posting at 10 a.m., do you know why? Anybody got a quick guess?
Yeah, it's usually a time when people check that and lunch are times that
Lunch.
You got it.
That's what I was gonna say, lunch breaks.
Yeah, it's usually after, you know, if you think about your own life schedule. If you've got children, what are you doing? You're up early, you're getting them ready for school, you're taking them to school, you're making sure they get there. If they're lucky ones get to go to school, you have, or you're getting them online. You know, people are traveling to work, you know, 8 o'clock. By 9 o'clock, they're settled in. By 10 o'clock, they're having their coffee break. Or they're having a quick break, and they'll check their social media post. So that's,
although I don't think, Vicky, that it was a bad idea to post that early either, because a lot of people will check their phones immediately in the morning too.
yeah, and they do, and you can do it. Try it. See how many views you got. Play around with it.
Yeah, I went on Etsy and I was like looking at different marketing things that you can do for online, and that was, or Pinterest. I was on Pinterest, and it was like, this is which social media outlet you should post at and what time.
Oh,
and what
really?
day. Yeah, it was a whole breakdown.
Yeah, you can Google just about anything for sure on that. So anyways, here's the prospecting-based marketing enhanced. So you can see how these both go together. So your door knocking, you're going to have an invitation. Your invitation should make it look, you know, very simple. Somebody's going to read it. It could be a card, have your business card inside. So your business card is marketing, and prospecting is the door knocking. Agent referrals, it's kind of like the same thing. You can also send out things to agents and markets that you like. So Candace, you've made a relationship. Elizabeth's made a relationship. Keep those relationships going. Send them thank you notes, send them some business cards, send them something after you get a referral, a box of cookies. It doesn't matter what you send them, but they're going to remember you, and they're going to want to continue to work with you. Same thing with the open houses. Have some good marketing materials inside the open house that people can take. Have your phone app always ready for that experience. And at open houses, maybe there's a group of you that are holding a dozen open houses, have a nice flyer with the open houses. So that's what we mean by prospecting based marketing enhanced. Same thing with social media. I've heard a couple of you mention private messaging. Super huge to do the private messaging on social media. So get really good at that. And those are the conversations that you're going to have with people. This is where your scripts kind of, come in, because you're going to be able to easily talk to people because you have already created that little bit of a relationship. They asked to talk to you. So Elizabeth, when you had those conversations, were they easy? Were they easy conversations to have?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's, I used to always say when I would go to like Bold, for example, and go, oh, I gotta do that script. I gotta call people and I gotta use this. And we'd be given scripts that we would read. And it always sounded so fake to me. And that's why I think a lot of people stay away from the script practice, because they feel that doesn't sound like you. You've heard people say, well, women will say this, oh, I don't want to sound like my mother. And then someday you do. You just kind of sound like your mother and you go like, that's kind of like script practicing. Oh, I'm never going to say that. And all of a sudden you hear that come out of your mouth and you go like, oh, I was never going to say that, but it worked. And so you learn how to say it with your tone of voice and your timing of voice. That's what script practicing does. It helps you get that far along the line so that every conversation you have is comfortable. It doesn't feel like it's a scary thing to do. Now, when you call for sale by owners, or you're gonna run into grumpy, mean people. The way to diffuse grumpy, mean people is to be nice. And if you're nice and you're kind, they find it very hard to be grumpy and mean. If they just hang up on you, okay, move on. There's an expression called next. Just move on to the next one. There will be those conversations. I've already heard them a couple times that people say, oh my God, I'm so glad you called. I was just thinking about selling my home. Well, you're psychic and you figured that out. So that helps you. Okay. So this is a little bit too on the door knocking, the approach. And you guys can, figure out that the approach is really to build, farms. So you're going to, figure out your approach. You're going to act on it. You're going to ask for business. And you're going to advance. You'd be surprised that when you door knock, especially around open houses or doing that invitation, and people will come to that open house, you'd be surprised how many of it will tell you that they're thinking about selling in the future. And that's where you ask. You ask them saying, well, that's great. If you're not ready now, you know what I can do for you? Give them an offer and say, because this is such a great neighborhood, we've got lots of buyers looking at this neighborhood. I'd love to put you on my neighborhood nurture or my newsletter or whatever value that you can give to them. You want to make sure that you're asking them for business if they're ready to conduct business, and then you're going to put them in some sort of system. So make sure you're doing that on your door knocking campaigns, or if you're doing your door knocking virtually, same thing. You just want to be able to keep that connection. Same thing with the agent to agent referral. So you want to grow that, you want to maintain it, and you want to manage that. This is where you get into maybe 5 or 6 metropolitan areas. I heard somebody say, I think it was Elizabeth, saying that she had gotten an agent just to go from Albany to Syracuse. You're just moving them upstate. So that's not a bad thing. You think that's going to happen more than once? There might be other people. Corporations are beginning to move people around. So you're going to want to make sure that you are, growing that network and then maintaining that network. That's where you send the thank you cards and you do, nice things. You tell other people in your market center how wonderful that agent was in Syracuse, New York, and they might connect with them as well. And then make sure that they name drop you when that happens. So work on your referral network and get that managed. The other thing I will tell you at this point in your business, everybody has the KW Connect section. Make sure your profile is filled out. Don't have the background of Austin, Texas that they put behind everybody there. figure out how to put something behind your head that's representative of the community of which you're representing. And then also put a nice bio in on you. If I am looking during the referral section and I pick out 4 or 5 agents, and this is how I found my one in Marco Island, is I put out 4 or 5 feelers to agents, and I looked at their business, and then I looked at their profile. If they were sitting in Marco Island and it didn't look like Marco Island, I skipped them. And people will do that to you too. So make sure you take time in your business to get that profile with a nice bio in. If you don't have a lot of business yet, you can keep those switches turned off. Have somebody in your market center help you with that, and get that cityscape of Austin from behind your head. That's going to help you have people, because I know how people behave. That's going to help you get better referrals coming back to you from other areas. Okay. All right. So now we're on to command referrals. This is in your command dashboard. I'm going to show this to you in the end. But what you're going to do is you're going to be able to manage your pendings coming in. You're going to be able to set up new ones. You're going to be able to look at the money coming in. This dashboard works very easily, and there's lots of fun things on the maps. And then you can look at your own network through that. Does everybody know how to find that in command? I'll show you my command site, but to the end, I don't want to keep flipping the screens off. How many of you have actually been in here and looked at how to place referrals inside your own systems? Okay, Elizabeth, I see one hand. Anybody else? No? Okay. This is something you want to put in your calendar and get familiar with. At least get familiar with how it works, so that when you do have that opportunity, you can make it work very easily. Okay. All right. So we're back to open houses. I don't know why they set this aside and put something else in the middle, but back to the open houses. Again, the day of the open house, you want to be prepared. You want to prospect while you're in the open house, and you want to, pursue and follow up on anybody that was at the open house. So you should probably spend the afternoon after the open house sending thank you notes to everybody that came by. While they're in the open house, show them your phone app, or show them how they can search without MLS Borders and your website. Get them to get connected to you if they don't have an agent that's already helping them. Okay, typically most anybody that does have an agent will walk into an open house and tell you that their agent sent them. Find out who their agent is, and then follow up with that agent to say somebody had been to the open house and introduce themselves as, using you as their agent, and make connection with that agent. So that's another piece that you can do. But oftentimes what you do want to do is get any unrepresented buyers and have a lot of conversations, so you can get some details put into your command, and then basically pursue them. I actually think the word farm to them would be a much better word to have on this slide, but pursue them nonetheless is allowing you to have that take place. So at this point, I want to ask, how many of you have actually set open houses? How many of you are looking right now to set up an open house? Or if you haven't, tell us why you haven't done this yet in your business. Any responses? Elizabeth, have you done open houses yet?
Yes, I have. I've done several, quite a few actually.
And how many buyer leads have you gotten from setting these open houses?
Quite a few. I've got them all actually on listing alerts. So what I would try to do when they were there is just let them know, if you're interested, I can get you set up on something where the houses that you like, that you're looking for, will automatically come to your inbox every, as soon as they come on the market. You'll be the first to know. It'll be in real time. And I always say no pressure. But at least that way they're always getting an email from me. So I've got quite a few of them on that.
Okay.
And
Is
nobody
that,
seems to be ready to do anything yet, but they all have houses to sell, but you know, it's like, they're all kind of in gridlock right now, all like, there's like 7 or 8 of them. But
okay,
it's
so,
something.
oh, that's great. 7 or 8 will turn into business someday in the future. When you say on an auto setup, is that through your MLS?
Yeah, it's I don't know, I call it listing alerts. I don't know what else it's called, but it's that collaboration center where you fill out their name, their email, their phone number, and everything that they want in a house, the very specifics, so that, and then get that started, so they automatically get notifications every time houses come on the market or change status.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
it's like
have-
an auto email through our MLS.
Okay, through your office,
It's a collaboration center through the
Yeah,
MLS.
through the MLS.
MLS. Anybody using Command yet to do that? Are you doing any lead generation? Are you putting those buyers also in Command?
I am, yes.
Okay. And when they, can you see when they open up when they open
Yeah.
up listing?
Definitely. You can see
Okay.
everything they do. Yep.
Okay. And you're making notes in Command on what they've done. They've opened this listing, opened that listing.
I haven't been really good about all that, no.
Okay. So that's an opportunity to talk. All right. So that could be one of your days. It's like, I'm going to call all the people on my listing alert to see if they found anything yet. Now, sometimes if you know that these folks are working, the best time to call is not at noon when you're going to, or maybe at noon, but not at 1 or 2 o'clock if they're working during the day. It might be just as when they're getting home before or after dinner. To say, I'm just calling to see if you saw this listing alert, you know, that type of thing. Get them in Command. Do you have them all on your phone app?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I have a number of people on the phone app, but it's, people just don't seem to be able to figure it out. It's some people do, and some are just like, no, I just use my Zillow, and it's been kind of a process to try to
To
get
get them to
people
do
on
that?
it.
Have you ever, does anybody know what Loom is? LOOM?
What time? What time? Monday.
LOOM.
Afternoon.
LOOM. Okay. So it's free actually, and it's a little video for short videos. I would suggest that you figure out how to demonstrate your phone app and tell people how to use it through Loom. It's just a video, say, hey, I'm sending you this phone app today. And here's what I really like about it. You can search any home anywhere in the country. And although you're going to be buying, what market center are you in, Elizabeth? Albany?
Capital
Capital
District.
District. Although you're buying in the Capital District, here's what I like about it. If you see a home that you really, really like, you hit that heart and it's going to come right back to me. And you can call, text, or email me any questions you have about that home. Teach them how to use it through a Loom video. And that works really well because people then will figure out how to use it. They also show them how to share it. So if you'd like to share this with your spouse, here's how you do it. It takes probably 3 minutes, and anybody will listen to a 3-minute video. You might have to do it a couple times, but what it does is it shows the app and it shows you in a little circle, and that's a great way to get that out. But that's where you're going to start building the chain of contacts. You've got 7 or 8 people that you can talk to. Now, you don't want to wear yourself out on them, but you can talk to them. You can call them about one specific home, or go preview a home and then call them and say, I was just in this home and I think it's a really good match to you. If you have to leave a message, say, call me back. I'd like to tell you some of the features that I don't think you can see from just looking at it online. You know, ask them to call you back all the time, but that's a good way to stay connected with folks and keep building on those relationships. Because each time you have a conversation, you're going to learn something about these people, then put it into notes. And you're going to get to learn how to use Command better and better for your business, so that all it does is just runs your business all day long. Okay. So any questions?
Elizabeth,
Pardon me?
I was just going to say something I also say is, especially when they come back with, well, I use Zillow, is I say, this is my personal app. It's connected directly to my MLS and I utilize it. It's going to give you updated and more accurate listings or properties that are available. I
Yeah.
say Zillow is great, but it's not always accurate.
The other thing that's good to say is that's great. And hopefully you realize that that Zillow is a data collection company. We are not. Ours is not.
Well, that's good.
a good one too.
Yeah, I have a whole list from Chelsea of, what makes us different,
Well, Elizabeth, I will be calling you.
I was gonna share. I was gonna say, now group share, play nice in the sandbox and share with each other. That's always good. So, yeah, that's.
I should
that
probably
is
put
great.
that list on a PDF and shoot it out to y'all.
Yeah, yeah, you can get that to Chris and make sure that he gets it out to everybody. And it's, those are the types of things that you want to do. And the thing that you have to be a little careful of too is now that Zillow has changed over to the broker side, we have to be careful about our language as far as, talking about Zillow in a way that it's disparaging, because we have our code of ethics that we have to follow. But there is a way to overcome that. And that is by using your own website that does not have borders. By the way, everybody should know that. How many of you have your website set up that basically is marketing enhanced? I would spend some time doing that. I have actually been taking maps and posting them to Facebook. And here's something that I'm seeing now with the markets being so hot. But I think people originally priced according to the market, and then the buyers pushed the prices up and we had multi-offers. So what the next group of sellers are doing is trying to push that 20 to 40% on top of their prices right now. So look at your hot sheets every day and see how many are now having price reductions. Are you seeing price reductions in your market? On your MLSs yet? No?
Once in a while, if the price is ridiculous, but when I was in the office the other day, Carrie said that usually like Florida, California, she's seeing it. She's watching some things in Florida, and the luxury homes there are dropping $100,000.
Sure, because they went up $200,000. So here's what's happening in every market, and you should get up in the morning and you should look at your MLS and look at your hot sheets. You should look at what has come on the market, what's gone off the market, and look for price reductions. Do you realize that in your website you can do a map feature on price reductions and post that out to social media, area price reductions? Do you think anybody's doing that? So if you have enough of them, because last week I noticed there were 14 price reductions in our market, and there's only been 2, like maybe 3 weeks prior to that. So price reductions are starting to happen because people are overpricing right now in the market. And I think you'll see some expireds come back. So learn how to look at the market from really, really, purposeful eyes. And are you all looking at your hot sheets every single morning? That should be one of the first things that you do. Yeah. Any of you members of more than one board of realtors? Are you all like Capital District is just that large? That's capital. I'm a member.
No, I'm a part of Columbia Green, which is also part of Mid Hudson, which is also part of something else. And then I'm also a part of GCAR.
Yeah. Okay. So you have a lot of switches that you have to look at, and your maps on your websites will allow you to break those borders. Okay, so it allows your consumers, and that's why Zillow is so popular and Realtor.com is so popular, is because they don't have the MLS borders that we've been stuck in. So now our websites don't have them either. Neither does our phone app. You can take your phone app and you can punch in, and I do this if I'm on a listing appointment and you have an iPad there, say, well, let's look at houses in North Carolina, or let's look at houses in Charlotte where the person's moving to. And all of a sudden, right from your phone app, all the houses in Charlotte. I got invited by this is how I ended up in Marco Island. I got invited by a builder to go to Marco Island because I was helping him sell his home here, and he was going to move to buy an investment home in Marco Island. Is the first time that phone app came out. And you know anything about Marco Island, Florida, they can't use for sale signs because they don't allow them in the front yard. Yes. And they're 8 by 11. they're teeny tiny little things stuck in bushes because they don't want to have this beautiful neighborhoods full of, ugly for sale signs, I guess. And on the canal side, they can't put them. So we were using the phone app to identify homes that were for sale from a boat. And we found one, and he bought that home. He 2 years later sold that home, and then went over and bought a piece of property and built a much bigger home on it. So out of one client invited on a vacation to go help him buy a home in Marco Island, Florida, I've made three referral sales. So that's the power of the tools that we have. And I never would have been able to do that without that phone app, at that particular time. So don't be afraid of it. Look at how you can use it. Sitting at a listing and showing them homes in other communities that they're going to go for, and then find them a referral agent. This stuff all works together, and that's really important for that to happen. All
I
right.
just put the file in the chat, the app advantages over Zillow, that from Chelsea and our tech
Right.
person in our market center. Just, you all can have that. It's my handwritten notes, but
That's great.
better than
That's
nothing.
a good way to do it. So everybody download that and copy it before we end today. Okay. So now here's basically, again, using our, prospecting, adding contacts and following up. So what are we doing? We're prospecting for our 3 hours. We're getting our preparation done. We're actually making our calls. And before you end your business day, don't wait till the end of the week and think you're putting 50 contacts in, because you're not going to remember what they said. If you have to note it like I do in a journal, I'm just putting, little pinpoints on, but I'm going to, at the end of the day, put them all into my database. And in my database, I'm going to be able to put notes on people so that I can remember that conversation, or I can put them on other things. So you're going to add your contacts. How many of you are using tags right now in your contacts that you're putting in there? Tags, I'm seeing hands with tags. Okay. Tags are extremely important because you can filter by them. And, I've told you all that I'm in the Finger Lakes region. So if you know anything about the Finger Lakes region, there are lots of lakes, and people are very specific about which lake they want to live on, and not only which lake they want to live on, which side of the lake they want to live on. So I oftentimes will have, oops, I lost that slide, sorry. I oftentimes will have more tags, and when I get to share my other part of the screen, I have more tags on one person. So I might have, they're a buyer, they're a seller. I also label my buyers A, B, and C. Okay, so A buyer, cash, ready. B buyer, good credit, bank, ready. C buyer, going to be a little bit longer. D buyers, I refer to the other company down the street. Okay, so you want to focus on people that are ready, willing, and able to buy, even if it's 6 to 9 months out, and you can cultivate them and put them in tag groups that they're buying 6 to 9 months out. So what you want to do is add the contact, get them tagged well. So mine might have lake buyer, which means any lake. It might be lake buyer, and then I have the name of the lake, and it might be the side of the lake that they want to be on. So I could have 5 or 6 tags on them. And what you want to do is you get really, 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 really good with your tags. And, maybe have a workshop in your market center talking about what tags, because here's how I filtered them. I had a pretty good lake property. I'm writing an offer on it this afternoon, show up. So my business practice is I do not send out an MLS sheet. What is everybody else doing? They're sending out an MLS sheet. What does MLS sheet look like? It's not really very pretty in most of the MLSs that they come out on. So this lake property came up. It was pretty affordable. So I could go to my database. I could click on the filters that say lake buyers. And then I clicked on the filters that said East Side Seneca Lake. And then I clicked on a filter that said what price range that they were in. I came up with 27 buyers that had asked about this price range of property in this side of the lake. And I was like surprised. My director of operation, I said, how many are there? And she goes, 27. I go, are you sure? Do you have the right filters on? I didn't even know at that point I had 27 buyers that matched that property. They did not get an MLS sheet from me. What they got was a landing page. So in your MLS, you can make landing pages. Those landing pages is another piece of marketing. So what it gives them is a look at the property, and I'll show it to you when we're done with this. It gives them the look of the property. The pictures automatically run through and it has a map on it so they can see where it is, and the map can change to a satellite map. I got more people, and then I have a mail tracker on too. I send them out to Google, and I could see how many of them opened that email. Now, some of them don't live right here, so I might go do a virtual walkthrough for them. But the couple from Canada happened to be in the area. They went and looked at it, and they're making a over-the-top cash offer on it this afternoon. So we are able to use our marketing so that we can successfully attract people to us. So if I have anything that is a higher end home or over a certain price point, they do not get the MLS sheet. They get targeted to them a landing page. And that's they'll open these landing pages because they're now, several of them are used to getting them this way. So why would I turn around and send them an MLS sheet that's full of abbreviations that nobody understands? So that's, anybody using landing pages? No? Yes? No?
Not yet.
Okay. So
You're my favorite trainer so far. I have literally like 10 pages of notes because of you. Thank you so much.
well, thank you. I do have a habit to go a little bit off script, so don't tell the people that asked me to teach that, okay?
This is all useful. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Well, you're more than welcome. All right, and then adding them to smart plans. That's always a good one. The smart plans are really good opportunities to stay connected when you don't have time to stay connected. So it's doing things, it's keeping you organized. So smart plans are getting better and better in the command. And that's something I think you're going to want to look at. So put this down in your notes or pull this page out of your system to say, you're going to add a contact, you're going to pay attention to tags, and then you're going to also put them into your opportunities by cultivating them and then adding them to a smart plan. These are great ways to stay connected with people. Okay, here goes the open houses again. All right, but here, this is great too. And I don't know why they didn't put these all together on the open houses, but this is really a fun thing to do is when it says host a speaker. If you've got a really good open house, hosting a speaker could be great by hosting, having lunch brought in and telling people that you're going to have like a box lunch from Panera. Sometimes if you connect with a hosting an open house and you have the bank there as well, they can pre-qualify people. They can talk about in your high-end houses, they can talk about jumbo mortgages and things like that. You can offer a gift. That's the gift card is the gas card. You can get the house in shape. You could have a stager there if you thought it was important. One thing I want you to be very thoughtful about when you're doing these open houses is the engagement piece. I'll tell you one quick story. I went to do a listing, and when I got to the neighborhood, there were 3 for sale signs within the block. And I'm, so my head goes immediately, holy smokes, what's happening in this neighborhood that everybody's moving out? Got to find out if there's a high crime rate or something. I don't know. It just happened to be an anomaly that this lady was going to sell her house and everybody else had reasons to go. There was not one of my company's for sale signs in the neighborhood. So my second thought was, oh, she doesn't want to compete with the other companies. So they're hiring a third company to be in the neighborhood. So there was 2 listings with one company and a second listing. So I'd be the third company in that neighborhood. So when I sat down and I started talking to her about, how she found me and why she called me, and I said, I see there's other homes listed in the neighborhood. I already knew the detail around them, but I asked her questions about, when she got to the point about talking about wanting to have an open house or not have an open house. Some people are not comfortable with having open houses, and her house would have been great to have an open house with. And she started digging into the details of how we manage and hold an open house. So I started telling her, what we do and what we typically like to do. And I made some sort of comment to her. I said, you're asking a lot of questions about open house. She goes, yeah. She goes, I went to the open houses held by the other companies. She goes, I would never hire them because the agent sat there and just told me to look around while they read a book. And she goes, I went upstairs in these houses, and she's going, I could have taken anything I wanted and nobody was watching me. And she says, I'm not hiring these companies to have an open house in my house. So engaging with people is what they expect you to do. And while you're in an open house, don't just sit there and say, yeah, have fun. If you have any questions, come on back down to the kitchen. I'll answer any questions for you. So the one nice thing about having people coming in one at a time, it does allow you to have deeper engagements with them. So if you're following the social distancing protocols, playing a partner of two where somebody stays outside and walks them around the outside with somebody's inside, you can set the stage to say, well, we like to, have you spend 10 minutes in the house. So let me turn you around, and somebody's turning them around the outside or doing the staging out there. You can work out your systems there and do your, at the end, do a video open house and post it, for people that didn't get to get there. So that would be something that you want to do. But I like the gift idea in the neighborhood. I think that works really well. Okay. And then social media. Oh my gosh, this is really fun part of the day. Some of you are using, the instant messages, connecting offline. That's really great. But what you can do really easily is, select that group you want to talk to. You can share lots of information and services. So I would basically get really good with social media because it does work. And if you're boosting through campaigns, has anybody done campaign boosts? Like you have a listing and you actually spend $20, $30 to do the boost? Okay. So the most successful boost that I have is the 50-mile boost, but I also go in and I pick taglines where, you say you can pick names when you're into getting ready to do your boost out. Don't just boost out 50 miles and hope it's going to land on the right people. So if you go down, does everybody know how to go down and select people in their market? Why they don't have homes for sale? I don't know, but I do know they have homes for sale. There's homesforsale.com. Did you know that that's a selection? So the first few ones that I pick is I pick Zillow.com, Realtor.com, homes.com. You start picking those, your boosts are going to go out to people that have Googled Zillow. There are people that have Googled Realtor.com. So take some time. Unfortunately, you got to put them in each time you go to boost out. But if you do that, you can get your boost out a little bit farther. And the other thing that you can do, and I didn't know you could do this, somebody, Keller Williams said, yeah, and I do this in Albany. So for you people in Albany that want to come to upstate New York, you might see some of my emails, some of my social media getting posted out there. I had, in our area, we have a lot of bed and breakfasts and Airbnbs for sale. So that would be a niche that I really like to have. If you have a bed and breakfast or a Airbnb for sale, I will put you into finding you. I will chase you down. Anyways, what I've done with my Airbnbs is I will go to Albany, for example, and I will put 50 miles around Albany. Now, nothing's going to stop me from doing that. So I will take on an Airbnb, I'll put it up towards Rochester 50 miles, and I'll put down towards Albany 50 miles, and I'll put it around my own area 50 miles. The interesting part is when somebody clicks on that, and I can show you some of the campaigns that I've done towards the end. I get anywhere from 15 to 17 leads from each one of those ads. And what I get is their email address and their phone numbers. And that gives me information on what I can continue to contact these folks with. So I want to make sure that I'm sending them something to stay engaged. So I'm selecting what I'm doing. I'm looking for people, and I will, share out my information, and then I'm going to offer them services. Okay, so that is a system of marketing. Although you're prospecting, they've got it prospecting. This is prospecting based marketing enhanced. Again, I'm going to just keep saying that these run together. You'll have a section coming up in Ignite that's going to be about marketing. And, look at the MREA book. It's going to show you exactly, what to do as far as some really clever marketing ideas. Okay. So then on social media too, I mean, we're taught this, and I think this is real. This is where you get a chance for your personality to come out. You get a chance to be, like that person that you want to be likable. You want people will approach you if you seem relaxed and likable. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, one of my best posts that got more likes and laughs was, I did a post about a table that showed up Super Bowl Sunday. I was had some furniture I'd gotten rid of, and I was having, some people in for a small Super Bowl get together, mostly family and close friends during the pandemic. But I had moved a small table, and it showed up Super Bowl Sunday. FedEx was delivering on crazy days during that time, during the pandemic too. So I put the table together. It came from Wayfair. So I put the table together. I put a lamp on it, put a pot of flowers on it. And then I said something like this on Facebook. This table has been following me around for a month. I couldn't figure out how to get it to stop following me, so I finally bought it. Now, what happens on social media is how many of you clicked on something, click on it, ladies, click on a pair of shoes. So that pair of shoes keeps following you around, and every time you go to look at something else, that pair of shoes is going to show up on the side in a feed. So what's going to happen is you're going to have that pair of shoes showing up. That's what that table was doing. People were commenting. I had 68 comments on laughing on, oh my God, that happens to me all the time. So all I did was buy a table that sat next to a chair that I took a picture of and made a funny comment around it. So people will see you as being 80% personable, likable. I can connect to you because you seem like a great person. And then 20% of what you're posting on social media needs to really be on the business side of that. Okay. So anybody have any experience like that where they're feeling like, their personality can shine on the social media? No? Okay. Okay.
Vicky, I have a question.
Sure.
This is Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
Social media, for example, I create a Facebook account just for, when I started as a realtor.
Yes.
Should we keep it? I'm on Twitter a lot. I got the friends request. I don't even know this person. Should I just open to add as much as people as possible, or just keep with my friends circle?
Okay, so that is really a question a lot of people ask, and you got to be careful sometimes when people that you don't know are asking you to become friends. So what I'm going to tell you to do is to just give me 1 second. So what I'm going to tell you to do is reverse stalk them, see if they're legitimate. Women sometimes will get just men that want to join you on your business page. You'll get more likes than you will anything else. You want to build your business page up till you have maybe 1,000 likes on your personal page, and you're going to run between the two of them. I'd be careful on accepting anybody on your personal page. On your business page, you can always unassociate with them if you think that they're not being appropriate. Does that answer your question, Jenny?
I guess I have not tried the business page yet. I still learning how to do that. I only have personal page. I really uncomfortable to friend with anyone I don't even know.
Okay, then I'm gonna say, if that makes you feel uncomfortable, then don't do it. You should spend some time building a business page on social media. The business page still runs that 80-20. Okay, they want your personality out there on that business page as well. So you're going to, you can Google how to set up a business page. It's really simple. Your Facebook page ties together. And in order for you to do campaigns and command, you really want that connected to your business page. So first step is taking the business page. All right, and getting that done. That's going to be really important for you to do. So again, if I'm making any suggestions on things for you to do, it's because these will all work together. You got to put it in your calendar, and you're at the end of today, you're going to probably sit down and build a plan on 1 or 2 items that you're going to implement. So something like you, Jenny, you're probably going to want to find out, and what market center are you with?
Capital Region.
Okay, Capital Region has a lot of resources, people in your market center. So go back to your tech trainer or somebody and ask to either have a class or to have a coaching session on building a business page. Probably we're having one in our market center soon.
Jenny, I'm friends with you. We're friends on Facebook. So I just took a screenshot of how to make the Facebook business page. I'll message it to you through Facebook, okay?
Olivia, I have one. I created a business page, but I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to direct
well, this kind of runs you through it. So I'll just message it to you.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's very nice of you to do that. So
yeah, no problem.
That's the one thing that's really great about market centers. And if you are going through this program together, group together, you know, have a lunch, have a mastermind together. And Jenny, that's a great thing where, you know, maybe you could take 5 minutes. I think I've seen Olivia take 5 minutes and say, let's have a mastermind around Facebook pages and make sure we're running them correctly. The more of us at Keller Williams that do that type of work, the bigger our reach comes, the more we can outpace Zillow is really going to help everybody. So that's the thing that you really want to focus on, is doing that. Okay. So then the next one, so this is really, you know, taking action and developing your plan. Again, I think it works out really well for people to focus in on their personality, their area, their business that they want to do, and be all in on that. So what you're going to want to do is look at these are just an example. So what you're going to probably do is take 1 or 2 things, you know, going forward from here and say, this is where my focus is going to be. What agents do, and it becomes harmful a little bit to them, is they want to do everything and they want to do so much, so they're not really good at anything. So I want you to sit down, and we're going to make some lists today coming up. So what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to some of these, you know, strengths. So look at this slide right here. It's prospect to your strengths. Okay, so 80% got 90% of their business from 5 sources or less. Now you're going to see these like 38% maybe got their business from referrals, maybe 38% got their business from buying leads, maybe 20% got, you know, this. But what you want to do is, if 38% of your business came from one source, do you think maybe you might pay more attention to that, you know, going up? If you're 20%, so what I'm going to ask you to do is focus on what you think your top 3 strengths are, you know, because your top 3 strengths are going to propel you into business. And once you get that down pat, or you hire somebody to do that, I know some agents here in our office are working with cyberbackers to do their marketing. I know some market centers have marketing people that you can hire to do your marketing. So if your marketing is getting you 14% of your business, but it's too labor intensive, you want to stay in your 38%, you might want to hire somebody else to do your 14%. So what you're going to do is you're going to figure out what is your best percentage here. So look at some of these things on our next graphic. Okay. So you're going to prioritize your lead generation efforts. So if some of you can't door knock, you may have to take that off your list. If you're, you know, I'm not advocating that you go outside of what your market center is telling you to do, but you have your door knocking here. So here is the list. So door knocking, calls to Spear, agent referrals, 19 Connect newsletter, for sale by owners, open houses, social media, sign calls, website registrations, clients, parties. You know, then you might prioritize. So you're going to list, you're going to prioritize, and you're going to focus. Okay. So out of this list, you may want to pick a few of these, like say, pick your top 3 that you're comfortable in doing. And then you're going to prioritize the list. So you can see here's the list that social media went from number 7 up to number 1. So look at your lead generation efforts and see where most of your leads are coming from. So if door knocking is number 2 and spears of calls are number 3, you're going to focus on these 3 items. And this, they're telling you to focus on the top 2 here, social media and door knocking. That's going to go into that priority there. So for those of you that have been in business long enough, you're going to want to really sit down and think about where your business is coming from. So Elizabeth already said she's got 8 or 9 buyers coming from social media. So prioritizing on social media might get you, 30 to 40% of your business. You want to actually watch that going forward. Know where you're spending money and seeing if that money's getting a return on your investment. You're going to really want to do that. If door knocking and open houses are your top priority, then get into a good network with agents in your large office. I know some of you said you're from Capital District. How many listings are in the Capital District? 1,000? Maybe more? How many listings in Keller Williams Capital District? Anybody know? No? Well, your top agents in your district can't hold every open house that they probably want to have on their huge inventories. So go to the office and find one of them. Call them on the phone and say, look, I'm a fairly new agent. I'm assuming most people that are in this are newly licensed or they're refreshing their business and coming to classes like this. So what I do is make some relationships and say, I got some really good ideas on how to hold open houses, and I'd be happy to hold some of them for you. Most of those agents are going to give you every buyer that comes into that open house. And then you're going to be able to farm, to them from there. So we're, develop that plan. And here's the other thing with plans, put it down on paper. How many of you have built a 411? Have you? Okay, I see one hand. Okay, so you have 411s, and you can either use that or you can use just a simple piece of paper in developing a plan. So the next activity that we have in our slides are actually to develop a plan. Now there's only probably, I don't know how many, if Chris is still on the call, but rather than in breaking into rooms, let's talk about developing a plan in a group session. And some of you are very comfortable talking in a group session. So let's talk about developing a plan on, on a piece of paper, basically. So if you're going to, let me go back one slide here. So if you're going to develop a plan, you're going to do this in 3 parts. So if you look at your pages, did you guys print out your booklets with you? If you look at it, pages 14, I think it's 14 and 16. And these are good if you print out a page. So on page 13, it starts with a list of your sources and lead sources. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look at your list of your lead sources. So go back to however you're keeping these leads and list where they're coming from. And then put in a number of where they actually, the highest number of where they come from. So in the example that we had in this particular, oops, I went one too far, sorry, 2 screens. So in this particular list, if something isn't on there, then what I'm going to tell you to do is if you have something that's not on here, put it down on your piece of paper. So you're going to list your lead sources, okay? And then you're going to put them in order, like this prioritize right here. So there is this piece of paper that's in your book. I'm sorry, I got a screen on, so there you go. There's this piece of paper that's in your booklet and it's on page 13. So print out page 13. And what you're going to do with this is you're going to look at this list or add to this list. So what I want you to do is, and if you don't have 5, then you're going to go find 5. So I usually focus on 3. This manual tells you to focus on 5. So list your top sources, put them in order and in your book. So it may surprise you. You may think that, oh, social media is giving me my top sources. For those of you working open houses, that might be it. You know, so you want to put them, maybe you've got your website or your phone app. I don't know. I don't know how many people on my phone app now, but my phone app, you might want to strive to have a couple hundred people on your phone app. It's not unusual to have a couple hundred people on your phone app. Same thing with your website is striving to get people there. And then put your top, 5 focus leads. I would say for people that are new, make it 3 if you're more comfortable with 3. Get those down on a piece of paper. You cannot plan well unless you write a plan. And that's what your 411 does, and that's what this is going to do. Then you're going to focus over to page 14. And on your part A on 14, the instructions read, using the list of prospecting methods on your page above that. Now this is where they get it down to 3. You can also use your top 5 lead sources on page 13, but in part A, you're going to write a plan around your top 3. And before you write a plan around your top 3, let's say, I know somebody had said they like door knocking, but their market center doesn't want them to do that. So if door knocking is one of your top pieces, like in part B, you put down the pros and cons. What's a pro of door knocking? Oh, it works. What's a con? Oh, it's labor intensive. You might want to put down, a couple of pros and cons on each one of those. So take some time in your business today before this gets out of your head and take pages 13, 14, and 15 and put them, journal into them. Talk about how you feel about them. See if something's going to replace something else, because more than likely, this is going to be the focusing event that you're going to have in your business that may change something you're doing today for something else. You may throw something else out and you may throw it away. The one thing I think is really surprising on here is I don't see, well, maybe because it's more marketing than anything else, is to have farming done here. Farming is, especially since the pandemic, farming's working really well if you do it correctly. Number one, it doesn't, less is more. And number 2, don't use a white envelope, use something of color. Okay. In spring, you might want to use, a spring feeling color in it, and close to, the holidays, maybe you change from yellow to orange or something like that when you get into fall. Think about those colors. Somebody will open a color envelope before they'll open a white envelope. You can handwrite on the outside and don't use labels. Labels are a dead giveaway. what's inside. But oftentimes you do something like that and fill out, you know, page 14, really think about the top 3 and really think about the pros and cons. You know, some of you may not have enough money to do something. So, you know, your pro may be, I want to get, and I also will focus like, how many leads do you want from this list? Social media can drive a lot of leads. So a pro may be a lot of leads. The con may be, you know, you got to get 3,000 of them to get 10, you know, that type of thing. So you want to really think through this. And, you know, I would recommend for those of you that are in market centers that are, you know, on this call together, what I would suggest that you do is you get a mastermind group together and have lunch in your market center and talk about how you fill these pages out and why. Has anybody done this exercise yet or aware of this kind of exercise, or maybe you've already done it in their market centers? No. Will you do it going forward? Yes. Yeah, I see some head shaking. Okay. And then part C, yes. Adam, hi.
Hi, I think it's a great idea. I was, while you were talking, I was trying to figure out where do all my leads come from? But there's actually a reporting mechanism within Command. So if you've labeled your lead source, you should be able to find where they've all come from and what percentages and where most of them are coming in from.
Good point. And were you surprised? Did anything surprise you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't know that was there at all. So, you know, I was like, oh, where do my leads come from primarily? And I mean, I know that it's mostly repeat and referral, but it's interesting to actually see the numbers in Command.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and this is a focusing activity to focus you around making changes now in your business that will either, you know, up that, you know, 38% of, you know, your business being there from referrals. How long have you been in business, Adam?
This is my 7th year.
7th year. Good for you for taking Ignite. That's great. And good for you for finding that and then following that. So are you using Command fully too for your business practice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So those that have done it and gotten through the challenges of it are actually finding it very useful in their business. I always say technology is meant to organize you and save you time. If you had started business back when I started business, if I was in the office, I wasn't making money. And now it's almost the reverse. If I'm not in the office, I'm not making money. So for those of you that haven't visited your market centers enough because of the pandemic, it's time to go back and get re-engaged and reconnected, because a lot of activity, I see it in my market center too, is a lot of the top agents are the agents that walk in the market center, not, you know, 9 hours a day, you know, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, but they're coming in enough for engagement, like having a masterminds group together. And I'm assuming your market centers are providing you that kind of togetherness again, I'm assuming, correct? Yes. All right. Fill out page 3 here. And, you know, there's like 3 pages. So you go to 15 and I think it ends on 16. So you go to 15 and 16 and you're going to end up taking some time. And I would do it today if you have time and really fill this out, because it's going to refocus you on your business and maybe even changes in your business that's happened thus far. We've got some pages out of order here. Hang on just a sec. All right. So you develop your plan and get that going. All right. So this again is talking about developing your plan. There's a few more slides that are left in this. Let's see. You know, I don't know, you know, they have a recap for AHAs going on right now in the slide packet. If any of you have some AHAs, what I really like to do in the AHA part is to see, did you learn anything new? Has your thinking changed at all? Do you feel differently about something, and what would you feel differently about? Anybody want to share?
I mean, not to be general, but everything. This is probably the best Ignite class that I've been in. I think I learned more in like this class than I have the prior 10.
Oh, wow.
So
Well,
thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's very nice of you. I appreciate that. So what tools do you think, Olivia, as long as you spoke up once, what tools do
Sure.
you think you're not using in your business you will now?
So Command. I'm not even gonna lie. I just put all my contacts into it this morning.
Wow.
And
All
I mean,
right.
I'm only 2 weeks in, but that's something I should have probably done my first few days.
Yeah. So
But
you know what?
I didn't.
Yeah. Well, don't feel bad about that because we've got a lot of agents that ignore it because they think it's hard. And again, if you think that it's hard, I'm going to tell you some of the best resources that you can do is get on KW Connect. I'll tell you a quick story about one of our top agents here in our market center. And he's a MAPS coach today too. And some of you may know or have heard of him. But how we met this particular agent is we were looking for a new facility for our KW office. And this was the agent that was working with a commercial company that was showing us possibilities. So it was the investor group that went in and out of buildings with him. And we had such a good relationship and such good culture that we were laughing and we were having fun and we seemed like we were relaxed and nobody was, unfocused and answering their phones. We were giving him our attention. So he walked into our old facility at one point in time and I addressed him by name and I said, "Oh, did you find something for us?" He goes, "No, I wanted to talk to the operating principal." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I went and found the operating principal. What he wanted to do was leave his commercial company and come to Keller Williams. Now, his family had been in real estate. He was born and raised as a kid with a father as a realtor. And he had been up in the New England area and had moved to Florida. And before he moved back to the Northeast, he had been with Coldwell Banker in Florida. And when he moved back here to the Northeast, he went to a large pyramid brokerage company and started doing commercial real estate. And they only do commercial real estate. So when he switched over to us, he switched into residential real estate. So his office was next to mine. And every morning at 7:30 in the morning, he'd be in the office and he would be listening to something on KW Connect. First year in our office, he did $2.5 million, which becomes a capper in our office, $2.5 million the first year in real estate. He now does over $20 million worth of sales in real estate. He has a team and he's a MAPS coach. So his passion is coaching. His business is real estate. And he's taken himself from, point A from 2.5 million to 20 million. And in a very small market, there's only 340 some agents in this one MLS. That's the major MLS. And he still does that kind of business. So, and what he did was get on KW Connect and paid attention to how to make all these connections and taught himself because that's what we had to do, back then. And it's still out there for you. You can get to KW Connect and learn anything you need to learn about how to manage command. And I would do it. And that could be your hour of learning.
Right.
So do it. Don't be afraid of it. Back in the day, my cell phone, when I started, had a cord on it. Yeah, funny. I wish I had it. I'd take it out and show it to people because it was pretty funny. We used to have to use paper books to see what we had in the MLS, and by that time, half the stuff was sold. So technology helps you do more, and it helps you do more faster. So that's where I would say focus in on that piece of your education. Anybody else want to share anything, Jenny? Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is very helpful. I have a question is how, as a new agent, I'm a new agent too. How do we make a pitch to the customer to get our first listing? I can understand that the buyer side, right? It's more comfortable for us to be a buyer agent, to show them houses. And I've done that multiple times and closed some deals, but this listing I've never done before.
Okay, so what I would tell you to do is the first thing is probably one of the scariest things that you ever do is you convince the seller to list with you. So one of the easiest things you have is the size of Keller Williams, and you're in the Albany area as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that you're going to have is remember that sometimes when you meet those buyers, they connect to you. Sometimes they have a house to sell. So don't forget that you want to ask all the right questions on getting a home for sale. The other thing that you have is you've got people in your market center that's really going to help you. So if you, the first thing I would tell you to do is learn your script practice. And don't go into a listing assuming because you're new in the business that they don't want to list with you. So you want to pick up your own value proposition, and sometimes value propositions can be time. You have time to focus in. You have one of the biggest teams behind you, because who sits behind you? Everybody on your leadership team. You have all of the technologies to force, their property out farther and wider. So you want to sit down and focus on your value proposition, is what a lot of people call it. And I think you probably already had your value proposition class in Ignite. And that's stuff like your phone app, your technology, and it's also your market center leadership. They stand there to help you and behind you. And one of the best things, I love the cat that just walked across there. One of the best things that you can do, and we used to have to practice this when I started real estate before we had technology. We did all face-to-face meetings. And we used to have a trainer that taught us how to read contracts upside down. So what I would do is I'd practice with people in your office, get together a group, maybe they're all first times, and practice doing a listing presentation. Make a listing presentation with command, make it your own. And practice doing a listing presentation, and practice not just the presentation, but presenting the contract. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is be familiar with everything. I don't know how many pages your contract is in Albany. How many pages, Jenny? How many pages of contract? 4?
I don't remember.
All right. See, you can't go out on a listing appointment unless you know everything that seller has to sign. So what you need to do first is practice. And then once you practice and you're very comfortable, I would practice reading the contract upside down, because here's one thing that it teaches you. You're going to sit across the table, perhaps if you're doing a face-to-face, and they're going to have a piece of paper in their hand. They're going to be reading it top down. And you should already know every single word on that piece of paper, that if you turn that around and you face that towards them, you should be able to say, on step number 1, it's going to describe the property. I'm going to describe it by this, 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 and this. Step number 2, we're going to talk about this. Step number 3, we're talking about this. And you can bullet point and highlight that contract upside down without ever looking at it. You're just going to point at the numbers in the paragraphs, and you're going to explain to them what it takes in order for that to happen. I would get together with 3 or 4 people. I would go into, I'm sure there's some scripts in here on how to attract a listing to a beginning agent. It's going to happen. And then what happens with that is once you got that listing, you service the heck out of that listing, because at the end of the day, you want everybody to tell your office that you are one of the best agents that they've ever worked with, because that's where, and we got Adam, who's been up here for 7 years, who gets a lot of referrals. Why do you think he's getting them? Because he's showing up, and he is doing such an awesome job that the friends will start telling their friends to hire Adam. And the best thing that you can ever hear is when somebody wants you, and I love this, and pay attention to this language. When somebody calls you up on the phone and says, Mr. Joe Buyer or Mr. Joe Seller told me to call his agent, not a agent, not Adam, not anybody, his agent. It's like, if you heard people say, well, call my lawyer, call my doctor. I'll give you my doctor's name. You want to become that professional that you are owned by somebody because they want you, and they're going to say, so-and-so said, call my realtor. That's what you're trying to get yourself to. Does that work for you, Adam? People take ownership of you? So, all right. Does that answer your question, Jenny?
Yes, thank you, Vicky.
Do that first.
Yeah, yeah.
Get into
A
the
long way to go yet.
So I just had an aha. So this person on Facebook added me on Facebook, and I don't know why I accepted their friend request because I don't know who they are. But well, actually, I know why I did. I was like, maybe this person wants to buy a house. But what he said is he works in Bitcoin and mining or something. And his question for me, instead of asking like, because I was like, well, how much would I have to invest? He goes, how much would you love to invest?
Oh, there you go. Here's a sales pitch for you.
Right? I kind of like that though, because I've never had anyone say, how much would you love that? And usually they're like, oh, trying to convince me that it's not like some sort of, but that's like, it's that kind of, it made it feel like, oh, like me, it's about me, but I'm not going to do that because that's money I don't have. But another aha, I got to tell you, Vicky, you really inspired me. I'm like on Amazon buying a ring light so that I can do like videos because I'm trying to think of like how to market and prospect without spending too much money for my ROI. And so I'm like, I've talked to myself about, I talk to myself a lot, you guys, I have a therapist, it's fine.
Good. You could get a coach too, you know.
Yeah, no, that's the next step. But but that's part of the thing is like you really inspiring me to think like outside of the box for this instead of, because like my instinct when I first got licensed was like, I got to spend money on marketing, blah, blah, like so much money. And now I'm like starting to think more like, okay, make my money work for me and that kind of idea. And one of the things I've been talking or thinking about doing is like videos and stuff like that. And it's just not, I think I'm afraid. And so if I'm not uncomfortable, if I'm not uncomfortable doing something, then it means that there's nothing happening. So this is like my mind is going. So I really appreciate this class today, Vicky.
Good. And I would recommend that you do get into video. I think video is maybe for realtors, it's really underutilized. And if you don't have a lot of people doing it in your market center, get good at it. Maybe that could be a mastermind that you all get together and say, oh, let's have some fun and do some quirky videos. Quirky is good. I mean, get on and look at some of these quirky videos that people are doing just around, open houses. My team leader does like a 3-minute video. She posts a couple times a week. It's adorable. And she's now pushed it out to YouTube. And all she talks about is just topics of interest, habits, so she's, I think it's called Better Day by Day. Take a look at that. She is one of these people that can just speak to the camera.
Oh yeah.
Get connected. Go to YouTube and take a look at that. You can make a video and talk to first-time home buyers. Talk to, I know you're scared. That goes back to that 80% personal and 20% giving them, something of value. So if you tell, when I do some videos too, I just talked about curb appeal. So here's a really simple thing. You're not asking for business. You're not asking them to do anything. You're just talking about, hey, you know what? I want to talk to you today about curb appeal. I'm talking to sellers today about curb appeal. You know what buyers are doing? Buyers are doing a lot of drive-bys. They're shortening down that list to take a look at your home. So if your home is on the market, how can we say to that home buyer, come on in? So talk about just doing something like that. Don't make them more than 2 or 3 minutes. Post them to your Facebook page. And then a couple of times get when you think you got a really, really good one, boost it out and see how many people start following you. And, pretty soon you're going to have a little niche around yourself. You can talk in a video about staging your home to get it on the market. You're not really asking for business. Remember, we're coming from contribution. So if you come from contribution in that way, you're going to find this little niche that's going to be really, I think, really important for your business. And you seem like you have a personality. You can pull that off.
I'd like to try to have
There
a
you go.
personality.
Well, get together. I see some people that are, that are engaging, and I'd say, hey, let's get 4 or 5 people come to lunch in our market center, and let's, you have a green room in your market center? I don't know how big A green room, like a green screen in the background?
Oh, I don't know,
No,
but
we don't.
Okay.
well, it's pretty easy. I think I could literally go to Walmart and get a green sheet and hang it in a room.
You can go to Amazon with your light and buy a portable green screen. Don't get one that, you know, is attached to the wall. We have one in our market center that pulls up and down. Buy a green screen, because once you start posting out your videos, you want them to not look professional, but you want them to be not fuzzy and things like that. So, you know, the lights are good. I'm sitting in what we call what do we call this? Collaborate. We call this our command center. So command your business. It has lights and laptops. You can't see it because I've got a screen behind me, but you will actually, and this comes from this here. So I'm talking and teaching. If I move my head one way, what do you see? You see my name, you see my phone number, and hopefully it's mirrored correctly. So get this. If you're going to have a group of people, maybe you're going to do a home buyer seminar that's Zoomed, first time buyer seminar, bring a banker in, bring an attorney in, bring a structural inspector in. What you can do is you can, you know, have this, you know, screen set up behind you and just talk to them and then record it and then play it over and over again. So thinking about things that you can do to save yourself time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's amazing. These are really good ideas. I also private messaged you, Vicki.
Okay, I'll connect later. All right. Anybody else want to share anything before we move on?
I have another tip for video work. If you're doing something that's a couple of minutes and you want to just make it really clean and smooth, you just stop after 15 seconds when you know you got something right. And then you start again, and then you just send it off to Fiverr, Fiverr. And there's like a million different video editors that will do it for like $10 and just splice it all together. And then they'll put your logo in and it looks like 10 times more professional.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have ever used Fiverr.
Yep, they do slogans and they do nice logos.
Yep. They do everything, like everything creative, but you know, you could do anything you want with Fiverr, but you know, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Not as much as I should, but I have done it and it's like phenomenal. I did an open house once, not an open house, a video tour of a really high-end house that I had listed, and it came out so polished and so professional. And it was funny because at one point I had to walk across the floor. It was a wood floor and there was a big squeak in the floor. And I didn't realize that until I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this house has a squeak in the floor. The video editor took the squeak out. He took the squeak out. It was amazing. And then I did another one.
Out too. Yeah, I said it took the comment out too. Yeah, there are companies that will do like Vyral, like VYRAL. I do that. They're expensive, however, but when you get to a certain point of clientele, your clientele and your price point is going to dictate sometimes what you spend and what you do. Matterport cameras and things like that. You know, we have all of those in here. That camera is like $3,800. But if you're going to go out and make, you know, $25,000 on a high-end home, then, you know, the Matterport camera makes sense. If you're not to that point yet, the whole point that I'm trying to make today is don't overspend money that you don't have, but yet set some of your money aside so you're constantly stepping up. You know, like, oh, buying a ring light for what, $40? Not a bad investment. Is it 40?
It actually, with the stand for your phone and the light itself, it was $30 on Amazon.
See, there you go. A green screen you can buy. We have a portable one that just pulls up and down. I think it was $150. You don't need a $150 green screen unless you're going to share it with people. You know, you really want to, you know, pay attention to that kind of expense. If you're going to go into video and you have that personality, do it. If you don't think that you can have that personality to talk instant, you know, without skipping a beat. And I love that Fiverr thing. I mean, Fiverr is so affordable. And if they take out the squeaky floor and that, I can't believe I just said that, or too many ahs. You know, practice with your friends and you'll get better and better, because just like anything you practice, you'll get better. You'll get better.
There, I just found a portable green screen, 43 inches that hooks to the back of your chair for 32 bucks.
There you go. So you're shopping during my class, are you now?
You're inspiring me, and I'm on both. I got
But
multiple
don't go tell
screens
people
here.
that, don't go tell your accountant somebody made you spend money you don't have, okay? So be careful. Anybody else want to
Don't
share?
do that.
Because before we're done today, I'm going to show you a couple of things about landing pages that I think will help you. If you could take this over in your market center, you can go tell Carrie Weiss, your team leader, that I helped you make her money. So here we go. And make you money at the same time. So let me see what slides are left yet. See, daily success habits. Yeah, you know, these are things you're going to see. Yeah, do the 10, 10, 10. This has been out there forever. And I'm going to tell you 10 contacts added to your database. You should have at least 20 to 30, if not 50 every week. And if you do this class, well, I don't know how many there are, like 12, you should have a couple hundred people that you can start talking to. Have your 10 conversations a day. Do your 10 handwritten notes. And I don't care if those handwritten notes are to agents, because if agents know and like to work with you, you have potential for building your downline. And building your downline is, again, nothing more than that mailbox money. You're attracting people to come and help and be with you in your business. That helps. And 10 previews per week. I'll tell you a fun game to do. Get together with 5 of you. Everybody on RPR, you know what RPR is?
Mm-hmm.
Please tell me you know what RPR is. Okay.
Yes.
RPR is like Zillow for realtors. That's all it is. And what I would tell you to do is take 5 new listings that come out this week in neighborhoods that you guys think you're interested in. Instead of jumping in a car and going previewing the house, go on RPR. This is what you could do. Go on RPR, take those 5 and see what the Zillow does. You'll get pictures, you'll get, you know, everything. So Zillow for realtors will tell you what they think that home is worth. Okay. Then I want you to kind of look at a CMA and see what it's worth. Get your 5 people back and see if your CMAs match each other. This is a good exercise if you want to list a home and you haven't done it a lot. You're going to feel confident if you know what houses will sell for. And then watch that house, and when it sells, put 10 bucks or something in a pool, and the agent who is closest to the sell price gets the pot. So, you know, have a couple fun times with that. Just get together with a club. Anybody's done an investment club, or they'll do a club like this. Get a group of people together, and even if you got to get on a Zoom meeting and say, okay, which house are we going to focus in on? 123 Main Street. Okay, everybody go spend 15 minutes, come back what you think the house is going to sell for. And when that house actually does close and sell, everybody throw 10 bucks in the pot. When it does close and sell, whoever's the closest to the selling price gets that pot. And it can be fun. And it's going to teach you how to price homes too, and conversation about pricing homes. So if you can't get out and preview them, do something on RPR. If you're looking at the hot sheet, take the houses that are, if you want to just be single on this, just take houses that are in that market area, because you know you may have a buyer, and look at what you think that house is worth using RPR and using data on RPR and your MLS together, and then watch the house. Because remember, even when you connect with a buyer, you're supposed to tell the buyer, you know, what you think that house is worth. And I know last year it got thrown out the door, but like everything else, market shifts. And when that market shifts, you got to be prepared for that shift. And if you don't know how to price homes or how to talk about pricing homes, you really want to, you know, shift into that. Other thing is I know people hate this. They hate this word, and I don't like it either. I wish they'd come up with another word besides script practice. You're not script practicing. You're learning the language of real estate. If you can't talk to people about one of the best and most valuable assets that they have, it'd be like, you know, going to the dentist for brain surgery. Okay, you don't do that. When you want to buy and create a portfolio, you definitely want to be able to get in to the best stockbroker. So when you're handling somebody's biggest asset, you better know how to talk about it, because you're not going to go to that unprofessional. And if you're a new agent, then one of the best things you can do is to script practice. You really have to get comfortable with that. Okay. Now, I'm sorry, I had the wrong, I'm looking at this slide, you guys aren't. Here's your 10, 10, 10, 10. You know, sorry about that. I had to change the slide working with a double screen here. So pay attention to this and do this. What you're going to do is with your scripts, and you can get in and to the command. In fact, I think there's a connection with this that has some scripts. So here's what scripts really do. They allow you to ask questions to uncover motivations. So if I'm really talking to somebody and all of a sudden I find the reason why they've invited me to the home is perhaps they're in a divorce, and that's not come out yet. And I had just gone through one where I dealt with a nasty divorce client, and you feel like you get right in the middle. I came in from the closing, I threw the file on the folder and told my assistant, I said, no more divorcees, you know, taking them off my hit list. And what ended up happening is the next person that I got invited into their home, I wasn't in the house for 2 or 3 minutes. I'm looking at I sold them this house, and I'm looking at the wife, I'm looking at the husband, and I go, I'm really surprised you guys are selling this house already. You've done such a nice job. You know, tell me what your motivation is for bringing your home on the market. And I looked at 2 faces with no words, and I knew I was in the middle of a divorce situation. And it ended up again, you know, kind of messy. So uncover the motivations. Are they moving? Why are they moving? Where are they going? If they're overpricing properties, you can, you know, help them get through the objections. This is where all these scripts are going to be really important to you to learn how to talk to people. So if you don't practice them, you won't have the language of real estate down to the point where not only are you comfortable, remember the other thing that happens with this kind of practice is not only are you comfortable, you're making the client comfortable. If you went into your doctor's office and the doctor says, well, let me look in the book and let me see what WebMD says. You know, what you really want to do is you want to walk into that appointment and you want to feel very confident. It's going to build your confidence, and you're going to end up with people wanting to do business with you because you've learned the language of real estate. So think about it in those terms. You're learning how to talk to people, not only for your comfort, but for their comfort. So how many of you are script practicing today and actually practicing with somebody else? Okay, I see one hand going up. I know I've gotten the sense that many of you are in offices, same office. So if you have something built in your office where you've got masterminding and scripting that's coming along, looks like somebody wanted to join the room. Sorry, hang on. So I would get together and I would really say, even if you have to use Zoom, you know, we all had to do Mega Camp and a lot of these things on Zoom, and I know it's really hard, but what if you got a group together and said, from 8 o'clock to 8:30, we're going to practice scripts, and this is the script we're going to practice, and really learn from each other and language, and then critique each other. There's nothing wrong with
Leave you some pot.
each other. Pardon me? All right. Any other things around script practicing that you might want to talk about? Are you doing it? Will you do it going forward? All right, see a couple heads shaking. So make sure that you do that. I am not going to, these classes are supposed to last a long period of time. I am not going to put you in a room to 30-minute script practice. Is that okay with everybody? But you're going to promise that you're going to do it. You're going to get out there and you're going to, you know, role model, you know, your script practicing. I'm also going to skip this because everybody knows that the compliance do not call list. We're going to talk in the last, I think 15, 20 minutes, we're going to talk about some things in command that I want to show you before we get off this, but everybody knows how to find the do not call registry. And if you don't, go to your market centers and they'll help you with this. So what you really want to do is there's also the do not texting is now in this because everybody's getting, you know, crazy text messages. What you want to do is build a database that trusts you and will want to work with you. And you pay attention to those people that have already connected with you and given you their contact information. You won't have to worry about the do not call list. All right, so stay away and just be aware of that do not call list. And we're not doing 1 hour of calling on that either. But what I want you to do is just update your contacts. Everybody knows that after you've made those lessons, updating your contacts are going to be an important thing for you to do. Don't wait and do them. Do them right on the same day that you got them in. That is so important for you to not skip that. So here we are with, does everybody know how to get into Connect? Do you know how to get into the tech-enabled agent and Connect? There's great classes that are in here and going into Command. So I want you to make sure, I'm gonna, when we get done with this last one, this is the next one, which is really important to do, is this one. Take this out of your book, okay? And create your success list. If you don't write it down, you won't do it. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're just going to think that you're going to have the time to do it and then prioritize it and then pin it up on your computer. So until this becomes a habit with you, you probably won't do it. So I would list 2 or 3 things in the to-do list and the should-do list. Now, what's the difference? The to-do list are things that I heard somebody say, I don't have any, I didn't put anybody in my database until today, and I'm 10 classes in. So should that be on a to-do list or a should-do list? So your should-do is going to be a priority that's going to help you get business. So sit and think about today's class and put down, you know, maybe you'll have 5 to-dos, but your should-dos should be the most important thing. And if you haven't read the one thing, put that on your reading list. That could be something in your learning, because he really defines the to-dos and the should-dos. You know, I should, so, you know, a to-do is to maybe make a video, but my should-do, it might be taking care of all my people that I already have in my database and then put the video in a priority, you know, something like that. I'm going to grab more business with my video that I'm doing. So I'm putting that down. Maybe I'm a little shy and I need to script practice more. Whatever you need to do, get it on this list, put it in your daily planner and do it. If you don't do it, you won't be successful as successful as you could be. That's really what you want to do. And then there's this little thing. Yeah, you can go to the Survey Monkey and you can tell everybody I was the best you ever had, and I'd appreciate that. I don't know if I ever even see any of these after I get done with these classes, but that's okay. You can do that. So I'm going to do a new share here with you, and hopefully I can find my. What did I do with it? All right, hang on. I'm going to go to my command. And can you see my command screen, or do I have to switch it over? You like all my past dues?
Yeah, we can see it.
Can you see it? Okay. Let me move you guys over here. All right. Don't pay any attention to these past dues, please. Only reason why is because International sent that in on us. And if you got these on your command screen, you pay attention to them. I've already got these tasks done. So these come up, the way I've got my page customized is this way. I've got my tasks, my leads, my goals, my notepad. This is the way I've got it. These are movable, so you can move them however you want to work. But right now, because I've got a lot of tasks that are also coming in command, my opportunities, and because I'm in leadership, I have onboarding. But what they did over the on the 29th is what they did, is they put this connect application. See how I'm fluttering over this? This describes how you should do all these. So if these showed up on your task list, look through them before you cross them off. I'm just going to X them out. You can also get to them here. Even though they said past due, you can snooze them. But each one of these shows you how to do something in command. All right. So everybody knows how to put a lead in. So I'm going to just show you some real quick, hopefully my leads come in. Here's the tagging. So I've got tagging on folks here that have been in my database. And you can see how I have tagged them in different ways. And I always change a tag when I'm all done with selling something. I change them to a bought, you know, past seller, past buyer, and what year they bought in. Because every now and then they're going to move again, and I'm going to want to check in with them. So I actually end up, you know, taking the filters and looking for different things in my database. So here's where I can target my first-time home buyers, my second home, an A buyer. You know, if I've got this tag on that person, it's going to show up. I apply it, and then my database corrects itself, so I can mark it to them. So that's the piece on the tagging. So I want to make sure that you go in and you're tagging all your folks in. If I'm adding somebody as a contact, I'm hitting them here, and I might get them in really quick at first. Just I want their name and the phone number, and then I do want to marry couples together, but I do put them in separately and marry them together. So that's the way that you really want to look. I can create my own task list with things to do. I can do my smart plans. There's a ton of smart plans in here for you to do, so you can set them up. And you can put touches in there so that these are set up automatically. Learn how to do this. There's a library that's going to tell you how to do certain features, so you can add these to your smart plans if you like them. Get in there and look at those. And then here's your referral phase that is in here. So you have a lot of places for your referrals to come and go. And I have 167 people in my network. This is the one that I really like to use, is scrolling in on a map. This is where you can look at production on people, and this can do referral patterns. So I can take a look really quickly where people are moving to. So from my area, this is all the places that they've gone. Okay, so you may want to market from your area to those places. Okay. So get in there and get familiar with that. These are opportunities. So in your opportunities, I'll go under mine. So in your opportunities, you can follow them across. So it'll tell you what kind of production that you're going to have over here from these opportunities. Let me see, I have 3 active listings. So the things that are under contract are you know, flowing through here. So get used to that. And what you're going to want to do is when you're cultivating people, like I'm cultivating 14 buyers right now, you want to watch these. I'll just click this on really quick. I don't put everybody in here, but what I do is I put them in for a reason. And this is watch them for 12 months out, 3 to 6 months out, 90 days out. This is the person that you want to watch. And I'm putting these people under contract today. Okay, and then I'll shift somebody else back in there. So get into a class to learn how to use your opportunities. Here are where your campaigns lie. And this is what I really want to show you on the social media campaigns. So you have paid ads and you have social posts. You click over here to the social posts. This is where you're going to set up these social posts. And I've got to get them into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But everybody has this in command. This is what is being scheduled and the date it's coming in on. Okay. And if I want to publish one, I just go over here to this. If I don't like what they have, I can click the shuffle. And once I'm ready to pick one of these, I can keep shuffling it until I'm ready. And this was one that I ran with some success. You just click this arrow and it's going to show you how you can process this. Okay, if you don't like what it says up here, you can change it. If you want to come down and add some more photos, if I want to change my logo from the left to the right, I can click it back and forth. I can add my ownership that we have to have on and just get done. Now, these are fast posts. I'm just going to schedule the date and time up here. I'm not going to post this one, but I think you get the drift of how fast you can do that. So if I'm going back to my social post, this is where I'm going to my paid ads, just to show you this really quickly. So these are some that have completed. Let me go down. This is the one that kills me. This is, it says failed. This says it's failed because this was Twitter. Something happened to Twitter on that day, but this is the value of the leads that, hang on just one sec. So this is where I had 17 leads on this particular, this was an Airbnb. It's under contract now. I ran this for 14 days. So you can see the total that I spent on it. And I did do it in playing these two together. I spent $15 on Instagram and didn't get any leads. But here's the important piece. This is where it's following you around. So I had 1,240 impressions, 189 clicks, and 17 leads. All right. So this is good. This is good. This is even better because when I click on this, this is what I get. So if you're posting out, I'm getting names, email addresses, and phone numbers. Okay, now this was, I picked an older ad, but this also tells us the date, and I can just change this capture date to say from the 23rd of February to the end, to March 3rd. No, I'm sorry, 19th of February to March 3rd. I recognize the local numbers. This is an Albany number, I believe, no, Rochester number. So I recognize those numbers, but here's what I've gotten is I can come in and just pick one, and whoops, every now and then that happens. And here's what it tells me, and I've got some notes that are in there. So if I'm calling these people, I'm going to be able to go and have a conversation with them or get them out of my database, one or the other. But 17 leads should give you plenty of people to talk to on one day. All right. So I would start from your Facebook pages, get those connected and start in here. You can also do emails and direct mail. Direct mail is where you're going to do your just listing, just solds, and they run by maps. Get in this section of campaigns and get good at it. I'm not going to go to reports. Everybody should know about designs. Your listings are all in here, but this is the important piece that I want to show you before we end today. This is where your website gets set up, kids. So get in here if you haven't done it. Over here is connect your site. Over here happens to be my email address. Now I do use a different one to connect with. So just to show you my Facebook or my website. I'm on the lake. I've got a couple of, places that are zooming through here. So I've got some pictures that are either of my listings, photographs that I own, and I've posted it out to the websites. I'm in the fall area, so I've got everything that looks like my territory. That's what I want you guys to pay attention to and do that. This was a house, a nighttime photo of a house. I thought it was pretty. It's maybe 4 years old, but I own the photograph so I can utilize it, or you can buy stock photographs so you can utilize it. So I'm in my current location. I can just hit here. If I'm sitting in someone's home and they want my current location, and I'm just looking at properties here, can't access it. That's a plan. All right. Always when you go to demonstrate something. Let me go back. So I'm gonna pick Elmira. Let me pick the city school districts. Okay. This is pretty beneficial in your area to pick up all the homes that are here. Once a consumer gets here, you can teach them how to use these. So I want to use just active, maybe all of this. Maybe I don't want to do these. So I get them off of there because I don't want to spend time doing that. Maybe I do. The consumer can adjust the price, can adjust the property type. I just want houses. I don't want apartments. And these are where you can go in and actually see the property. And then you can click the more button. If you want more acreage or more of anything else, you can go in here and arrange it. This is very important when you're at a listing appointment. This is part of your value proposition. You want your consumers to see this. This is what you want them to do. If I'm coming up here, and this is where I'm going to show you, I'm going to wipe this out up in here. I've got my Zillow and kind of on top of that. So I'm going to go to Marco Island, Florida. I'm going to move somebody in Marco Island, Florida, and I'm sitting in their home in Elmira, New York. There you go, Marco Island, Florida. You have no MLS walls left. If you want to come into this area and expand it out and look at the price points on this house, yeah, I want to refer to Marco Island, Florida. Here's a $2 million house. I want to be sure that I'm going to, and there is a Keller Williams office there. Here's one right here. So I want to connect with this agent perhaps. So I'm going to click on the house. And this is fast. This shows you everything you need to show. Oh, keeps me there in the front. And this is the stuff that we should be using. And using it, you know, very skillfully. It's all set up for you. You can go in and you can set it up even more than this. But on the last piece of this, I want to show you these landing pages. This is what I send out to consumers.
So this is like, because I do, it's not a good.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So this is the landing page that I send out. I don't use MLS pages anymore. You can take any listing in your MLS and create this. This is what it looks like when it goes out. All right. I'm gonna move this over. Okay. It's branded to me, has the address here. This is the property. It gives you the main features that everybody's looking for, bedrooms and bathrooms. This is funny. It says it's a 1-bedroom. The pictures flow through. They're crisp. They're nice looking. Okay. More features here. This is what everybody's after is this. This map turns to a satellite map and can use your walk around Joe, or I could come right down and hyper look at the neighborhood. Okay. You can't do that with an MLS sheet. Everybody else is going to go out and Google it. Oh, by the way, I have my phone app attached to it. So if anybody wants to do that, get good at doing this. It takes you no time to fill them out. And when they go out to people, it ends up that they will call you back because they have all your contact information there. So that's how you get good at using the technologies that we have and using landing pages. They're very easy to create. You just simply go in to here and you can either put it on your site. You come down here to create a landing page. You get your widgets. And I always use my branded header. And then I always do the listing next. You just drop them and click. I put my phone app in, but I'm going to show you, then you go to configure here. My branding header, I'm not going to do, I'm going to pick a listing. Anybody have an address that they have in Albany, New York that they have listed right now? That one? No? Okay. I'm going to pick this one right here. It's in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So maybe I want to go someplace else. I got a lot of Iowa going on here. So if I go Albany, that's where Capital District is, right? It's Albany. I spell it correctly. I went in Wisconsin. Let me try New York. Let me try with a capital A. Okay, I'm gonna go to Albany, New York. Let's see if I find somebody's really cool listing in Albany, New York. Oh, let me look at something pretty. He didn't have any pictures, unfortunately. Oh, it's sold. But that's how fast they go. Takes you no time to do a landing page. Get in there and do that. Make a point of difference with your folks, and you'll end up having a lot of business doing marketing like this and prospecting like this. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? It's noon, and I think we're supposed to end at noon, and I'm happy to stay on a few minutes longer and answer any questions I can help you with.
So Vicki, the landing pages are the ones that you're sending to your clients that are looking, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So this is how I take it, and I change it even one step a little further. Let me see if I can find one on my sent folder, and hopefully it'll open from here. Down in here where it did the lake property. All right, so let me see if okay. So this is how I send it out. I don't spend a lot on words. People won't read long emails. So are you interested in looking at Seneca Lake properties? Please let me know if you are. Calling, texting my cell phone is the best way to reach me. Here's the hyperlink. You notice it looks different than the landing pages. So I use shortening down, and I use the hyperlink, and that's as fast. Consumer clicks on it on that email. This is what they get. So they have this, they have all the details. They have this that, you know, shows the photographs. They have the map, and I always attach my cell phone at the bottom. I mean, the worst case scenario, they can come to, you know, back into my database through this. And then I tell them when I'm talking to them on the phone, I say, oh, change it to the satellite dish. You want to see how close it is to neighborhoods? There you go. Yeah, pretty easy. Okay. And it takes, I can do these anywhere in the country. Any listing in the country, it doesn't have to be just a Keller Williams listing. Any listing in the country you can do this for. So it works just like your MLS. If you think about your MLS, you're taking the MLS sheet, you're sending it out to the consumer. Company next door is doing the same thing. The company next door to that's doing the same thing. Everybody's getting MLS sheets. When I'm teaching a class and I'm a consumer, I'm showing an MLS sheet on one screen and showing this on the other. Which one are you going to likely open sooner? And if I'm sending this to a consumer and they know they're getting this from me, but they're getting something else from, isn't this more Zillow-like? Isn't this what the consumers want us to be doing? So you do this, people will come back to you because that's the type of marketing they want from you. And that's going to work. But you got to take some time to learn how to do it and do it. So get on KW Connect and do this kind of work, and you're not going to have any problem with your business. Does it make sense? Okay. Anything else from anybody else before we part for the day?
I think I missed the very first thing you said about this. Is it listed underneath? Oh, Julian, don't do that right now, please. Is it listed under designs, or where did you find that?
Let me go back here in your campaigns. It's all the way down here at the bottom. It's consumer. You know this little red, if you open it, if you're not used to all this yet, you click the red. So it's now labeled consumer. So just quickly click here again. And up here at the top, it goes agent site pages. This is where you make your own pages for your website. That's another whole class. This is where you make landing pages. And the landing pages are just create a new page. And it brings up these little widgets. So you want to go from consumer to landing pages. When you go to create a new page, you've got to drop down to as a landing page. And also, by the way, once you're a listing agent, this is a standalone website for that listing. You want to be able to get in here and create that page for your listing as well. So the ones that I use the most is, these are the widgets you just pull over. I pull over my header. I pull over the listing. I do pull over my phone app. And the tricky part is you got to get them down at the bottom of this to get them to stick. So you got to drop them down here at the bottom And you'll know, whoops, you'll know you're successful once you hit there. I'm sorry, it switched over to my screen. But you just have to keep dropping them down, and then you click the configure widgets, the branding header, you want to put the address in here, you can copy and paste it. You can get in here and figure out how to do these really fast. And then the listing is just browse your listing, pick it out, and it plops right in. I don't know, this one might have more. I'll just pick one more just to show you. Nope, doesn't have. I had to pick one that's active. I'm going to change the listing. Okay. Let me see if 400 Porter Street still shows up. So here's 400 Porter Street, just to show you when it comes in from a listing. If I select this one, all the pictures from the MLS show up here as well. And when you hit save and apply, it does put it here. Now, if I'm sending, this one's pending, but if I'm sending it out, it's going to send all the photographs.
Yes, but don't talk about that.
Wait.
So can you also tell, you know how when you set,
Sorry, I'll just get out of this meeting.
I'm sorry, Megan, say that again.
you know how you set someone up for a smart plan and you can physically see the homes they viewed?
Yes.
Can you see that someone physically viewed your landing page?
Yeah, what I do is if I send these through Google, I have a mail tracker on it. So I sent out 27 of those on the lakefront property, and I can see each and every one that opened them. So Google is starting to work with your commands. So now when you have people on your cell phone and on your website, if they like a property, it drops right into your command. And then hopefully you're all watching the bell notifications up at the top of command, because your bell notifications right here tell you if anybody's been on. Oh, I got some trillions, so it's giving me some information. So if my market center is talking to me about something, I'm just gonna be able to, I leave the bell there until I address it. So if your compliance officers are telling you to fix something, it shows up in the bell. If somebody's landed on one of your pages, it shows up in the bell. So every time you got a dot up here or you have a dot on your Kelly, pay attention to it, because referrals come into that. Things come into that for you to pay attention to. Okay. All right.
Okay,
Anything
thank you so
else?
much. Sorry
Yeah.
to get out of my background.
Okay. Anything else from anybody else? I know that's the end of our time together, I think. So if we're all done, I'll leave it to I guess Krista, are we all done?
I'm gonna sign off now. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome,
It's
Megan.
really
All
helpful.
right, anything else?
It was awesome. You're the best.
I'm good right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ladies.
All right, bye.
Okay, all right, bye, everybody. Have a good day. Go kill them in the market.
Great job.
Oh, thanks, hon. All right,
I'll stop.
okay.